Alright, how's it going, everybody? Whoever might be on, let me do the socials real quick. Hope everyone has had a good Monday. Posted. Sweet. My Monday was pretty busy, but good. Managed to dip out of work. Not super early, but early enough that I could stream at 5:30 instead of 6:30, which I am thankful for. It's a pretty productive and pretty busy day, too. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I don't know who all is going to be hanging out with me today, so I'll have to see. Posted note. Alright. So, last time we were playing, we went through the factory, built our robot, did some sagey stuff. And I think what I want to do now is build out... Let's see. I did some off-screen farming again. Restream, stop telling me about that. Restream is bugging me about things. Well, I guess it's really Steam. Yeah, so last time we played, we went to the underground. We did, I guess, Dragon Head Island up above us. Hi, NoobTube, how's it going? We went to the underground. We did Captain Construct 4. How many of these do I have? Oh, I got 3. All right. We're going to take one out. I'm going to put it down. And what else do I want? Oh, you know what I want? I want one of these. All right. We came down here. We built our cool robot, which I guess is like the body of the 5th stage, which is neat. All right. Nope, don't do that. All right. X. Back part. Oh, interesting. So how does that... Huh, kind of neat. X. Left hand. Nope. X. Left hand. There we go. Alright, we got a melee weapon. We got our cannon, which honestly probably isn't that great. But let's see about this. Oh. Alright. Let's dismount. Oh, what? You can't... Okay, there you go. Do some fighting. Do some fighting, Sage, robot. Ah, damn it. Alright. Destroyed. Alright, we gotta get better at this. I was hoping the cannon would be like an armature thing, but that apparently didn't happen. Alright, we're gonna try this. If I come over here and then I turn around. No, alright. Let's just do some of this. Get some light burning. I guess it seems to work better on robots. It's still not like a great weapon system. I thought this would be more effective than it really is. It feels like at the stage I am now, I can kill stuff as Link. way better if we do one of these. Nope. Alright. Oh, did my cannon disappear? Alright. We're learning. So stuff doesn't seem to last a super long time on this robot. So I guess I shouldn't try and make like a super configuration. Because that does not... It doesn't seem worth the trouble. That's what I'm learning. Alright, pick some stuff up. Both my weapons are gone, and they were gone pretty fast, I'd say. Okay, let's put this on. Let's just put that on. Let's put on a spiked ball, sure, and a shocker emitter, sure. Where did I just lose my cannon? I think I did. Lame. All right. Well, I think we're gonna head on over here. So what do I actually need to do? Let's talk. Let's look at the adventure log. Find the 5th sage. Voices guidance. Guidance from ages past. Alright, I need to head this way. No, this is the factory, right? Yeah, okay. Figuring it out. Maybe where those monsters were is, in fact, where I'm trying to get to. Hi, Boom Headshot, how's it going? Playing some more Zelda. According to my friends, I am like... Oh. Oh, alright. Do one of these. Do one of these. Alright, he's dead at least. Oh shit, if I touch him, I get fucked. Alright, good to know. This is just taking too long. God damn. Yeah, just everyone beat the piss out of this dude. All at once. Shit. Fuck you, dickhead. I think I'm supposed to be following the monsters. Am I supposed to be like... Am I going platform to platform and upgrading all my robot as I go? That'd be kind of a cool little mechanic. Ah, perfect. Oh. Oh. Well. Well. Well, you see here. Okay, I can run. Oh, that's so goofy. Alright. And then we're gonna do, Yes! So silly, so dumb. Well, my friends. So dumb. Alright. And you. Gerudo bow is Dunsies. Come on. Yeah! Flurry of blows. Alright, sword's a little weak, but let's eat a little something. Let's eat a little something something. Restores hearts from gloom. Yeah! Nice. Oh, fuck you. Yes! And then let's equip something new. Let's go two-handed. Ah, damn it. Get the fuck out of here. Zigzag! Can't out-zig my zag. I still have... I don't think I found what the pose are for. Admittedly, I haven't been looking too hard. But I don't know. Oh, yeah, I love to blow all my shit out with the wind. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Thank you. Thanks, team. Thank you, team. Ooh, more weapons. Yeah, that's what I was doing earlier. Game. All right. Alright. Got like fucking zapping gnats. Yeah, I killed a whole family from 200 yards. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. I had a pretty good one. Hannah and I guess I'm trying to think. It feels like we didn't really do much. I mean, we were busy, but didn't do like Hannah was pretty busy with some household stuff. Not that like I wasn't helping out with that, but she had some projects she wanted to get done, and then I guess I did play some D&D still. I guess I'm just working my way over there. It's so goofy. I wonder if I could build something to put the robot in. Oh! I do see someone though. Really? Can I do this? Can I kite this guy forever? It feels like he's not actually getting that much closer to me. Oh, where are you going? Don't walk away from me. Fight him! Team, kill him! Get his ass! Get his ass! Are they gonna kill him before I can even recharge my battery? Yep! Good job! Good teamwork. Woo! Alright, what do we got next? We're grabbing... Do I not need that? I guess I'm good. Although I'm gonna drop this. Hey, you know what? Let's just... Oh, no, don't drop that. We'll keep it. I've got so many weapons, I don't know what to do with them all. Alright. Hopping back on. I should probably switch to the power saving mode, shouldn't I? Alright. I hate that that's not like an automatic boost. So yeah, the weekend, I guess the only big exciting thing that happened was Ollie got sick yesterday. Not sick, he wasn't feeling well. Hannah and I noticed that he was wincing, he was flinching, he really wasn't being himself. Oh, yeah, what do you have for me? Secret Sage? Nice. Close to the secret stone. Woo! Let me fix this. Is that all you have to say to me? Oh. Yes, please. I feel like the pushback from the cannons makes the most sense. Ah, because of this. Can I just walk around this shit? I guess not really. Cool. The biggest challenge, a narrow path. Eh. Is it even worth it? I guess not really. Have I been here before? I guess not. That's kind of interesting how the game... Oh, I do know this area, but I haven't been here. I was wondering about it. And the game made it like... It's interesting how they gate off areas. This wasn't gated off, but they made it just inconvenient enough that I was like, I don't really want to go over there yet. And it worked out to the effect of the game's pacing. Oh. Alright, enough of that. Hi, Shanice. Hi, Rathlarosa. How's it going? Love to see it. Is there anything funnier? Run, run, run. Oh, yeah. I'm on fire, but I'm gonna ignore it for now. This big Boko Goblin. Bokoblin. Fuck you, Bokoblin. Alright. Kill the big one. Nope. Do I even have a weapon equipped? Yep. Ah. Immediate break, yep. Lawnmower the little guys. Ooh. Yeah, dude, your party went down hard. There we go. Oh. Anything you want to say to me now? Ah, there we go. Spirit Temple. Cannot climb a sheer cliff face. Yep, I think we got an idea. Yep, yep. Whatever can we do? I love that they're just like, in case you don't know, we're gonna leave a fuck ton of rockets just hanging out. Easy peasy. So I'm kind of curious now if I had done this out of order, what it would have looked like. Oh, different little Zonai thing. Heading down the elevator. Well, I think we did it. Easy enough, right? Let's go get our prize. I'm sure there's nothing going to be in our way. I'm just going to put on my best armor for absolutely no reason. I don't think there's any need for it, but you know, just to be safe. I'm going to go ahead and maybe eat a little something something. Maybe one of these. And then I think I'm gonna eat, yeah, there we go. Again, for absolutely no reason. This certainly isn't ominous. There is the secret stone right over there. Oh, I wonder what is happening. Whatever could this be? Oh, that does kind of...
construct. I made it long ago.
Oh.
But the glow, it must be under the control of something monstrous.
Seize construct. Now it's got me thinking that...
The Demon King has turned my creation into his pawn. We must defeat it. We can do this together, Link.
Sweet.
Let's go. We have to stop that construct.
Oh.
These devices are very dangerous. Be careful.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the spikes are... I get the spikes are dangerous. I think a shield. How do I... Oh. Oh, is it literally just...
Maybe we can make use of the devices around.
Okay. Alright. Oh! Alright. Okay, okay. Rock'em sock'em robot style. I gotcha, I gotcha. Beating his ass. Oh. You know what? What are we doing? Let's go ahead and eat a little bit of this. And then, I don't need another effect. Do I want anything else? No. Get his ass! Oh, that wasn't enough? Really? Block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I just not in the right spot for it? Sorry, I know I'm ignoring chat. Thanks, Shanice, and Boom Headshot. Thanks for the love for Ollie. Ooh, extra arms, okay. Yeah, it does.
Brought out more arms. Be careful.
Oh. Okay.
We won't last long at this rate. We need to find another approach.
Ah. Come on. Get wrecked. Get wrecked, idiot. Hit the fucking wires. I'll say this, the idea is interesting, but the pace of the fight, the speed of this fight, not great. Like, I figured it out. Don't make me have to do this over and over again.
I like that I join and you're like, don't make me have to do this while you're pointing a gun at something.
Yeah, don't make me do this. Don't make me hurt you. But like, so okay, so it's hey Max, how's it going? It's, as you can see, it's like mech on mech combat.
Yeah. And you've asked them plenty of times to drop their weapon.
Yeah.
And they won't comply.
Yeah.
So you got out the taser and the flamethrower.
Yeah. And it's just, there we go. It's mostly fine. It feels like this could have been fleshed out, and it just if we moved at like 50% more speed and more a sense of urgency, that would have been ideal.
Trying to put a sense of urgency into a video game is always difficult.
Yeah, I think it would have just been make it like less feedback on the impacts, like make the robots' movements faster and the enemies' movements faster. I wonder if I'm sure they played around with that and maybe people got frustrated. Oh, there's a heart piece. We were asking or a heart container. We were asking last time we got all the shrines, but we didn't have all the hearts.
Yeah.
So
what's that thing?
There's at least one more. The secret stone, the fifth sage's secret stone. That's the reason we came down here, was to get that thing.
Oh, I never even asked about the Triforce in this game. Is that
not present really in this game? They're doing this secret stone business instead.
Because you have the mask. Oh god, Majora's Mask, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of funny because I guess the Triforce was in the original game, right?
Yes, the Triforce has always been around. Lore. Yeah.
So but in this game you have a item from that is newer than the Triforce.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't notice that.
There's just like a bunch of items that reference the old games, but they don't really, like, the Triforce isn't really part of the lore of this particular game. And when I say lore, I mean like.
And I guess when you say those items reference the old game, you don't mean that they're I got the impression that basically you had found those items before they had the lore that they have later. Like Majora's Mask before,
No, I don't think this is like canonical to that or anything. In fact, let's see. An eerie mask passed down from ancient times. Wearing it makes it harder for certain enemies to spot you. A rather rare find. Yeah, it's really just like
it's
Easter
a nod
eggs.
to the player as opposed to you actually recognizing in story that this is an old item.
Let me show you something. Because we got all the shrines, I did get this piece of gear, which turns me into something called the Ancient Hero, which I think means this is like canonically a previous version of Link, and I actually kind of hate it. Like, I really... One of my complaints about this game is it's clear that they are not interested in being beholden to the older lore, but they're just making up shit, and like it doesn't feel like they need to make new things up. They could have just been like, oh, this thing happened in this previous game. They could have done like more nods to older stuff.
This is my first time seeing that you have a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
In game.
Oh yeah, well that was actually in Breath of the Wild. That was in the first one.
Oh, I never noticed that either.
Hi, hello, how are you? I
must have never watched you play it when that was there.
I cannot imagine anyone is excited for Madam Web. That's one of the Sony Spider-Man movies where Sony's doing Spider-Man movies in their version of the Spider-Man universe, but they're all about the villains and Spider-Man isn't in them. So where they did Venom, which was kind of successful. Oh, here's the fifth stage.
Zelda asked me to aid you, Link.
Huh. Never heard of that.
Craven the Hunter. Oh, you've heard of Morbius. It's Morbin time.
Well, I've heard that, but I didn't know where it came from.
The second of their movies was Morbius, who's a Spider-Man villain who's a vampire. And it was funny. It was probably the funniest thing that I've ever heard of. That people were making memes making fun of the movie, and Sony Entertainment took that as people being interested in watching the movie, so it had a short release, and then they brought it back to theaters, and it, like, no one saw it because everyone was just making fun of it. They didn't actually want to see it. So they released the movie twice, and it failed both times, and I think that's hilarious.
That is pretty great.
So yeah, so like like we were talking about the Zonai species before, and it's just like random bullshit animals. Like the hero, the what I just dressed up as, he was like some sort of lizard man. This one's a rabbit. The Raru is a goat.
I guess that does make it very hard for your species to survive when your species does not seem like it has enough of its internal species to like procreate.
Yeah. Yeah, ooh, we do get
the downfall of the Zonai was genetic engineering and making everybody incompatible with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the reason we have 5 sages is so we could have a ring on each finger, which is cute. But
you're way more busted than a D&D character. They can only wear 2.
They can only wear 2. I guess in 5th edition you could wear 3.
Oh, can you?
I guess you can wear as many as magic rings as you have attunement slots.
That's a good point. They don't check. Can I wear multiple belts then? Is that?
I don't see why not. I don't think you'd have to look in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I don't think there's anything that's specifically collating items to appendages anymore.
Yeah, it used to be pretty nutty. Well, that was actually the whole reason that Ion Stones were pretty dang important. Well, I say important, but strong is what I should say in the older editions.
Do we just get to keep the robot now? I'm keeping the robot.
I don't know. Do you have the title?
Yeah.
What's the VIN number on this robot?
Slip. Yeah. In my own age, the distance passed from your perspective, Zelda. Okay, so, and here's the other thing that annoys me, is that it keeps telling us shit we already know.
It assumed you could start anywhere in the story, I guess.
Yeah, it's not the same.
But then they also didn't, like, add
Yeah, they should have
any checks to see if you may already know this stuff.
Yeah.
That's something that Baldur's Gate does really well, by the way. If you basically take different routes to get to different things, they're very good about checking whether, like, you would know something beforehand. And also having special dialogue options based on that. Which is a step above even what I'm suggesting.
They bore treasures from these same gods.
Of just, like, you know, shortening the conversation because you already know.
Those who possessed them. Using the knowledge of the Zonai,
but no dialogue will go unused in this game.
A great leader.
Yeah.
He met a young woman named Sonia, and they would wed.
I will be right back.
Sure thing.
Secret stones.
We're in a cutscene anyway.
Together, they sought to establish their kingdom.
This is how the kingdom of Hyrule, with Rauru and Sonia as its first king and queen, came to be. The future looked bright. However, tragedy suddenly struck.
I still don't get. I feel
A
like
man
they
of
should have
great
just not
evil
been
emerged
animal
from the
people.
desert. The leader of the Gerudo, Ganondorf, killed Queen Sonia and stole her secret stone. Using the secret stone, Ganondorf transformed into the Demon King. He then created swarms of monsters and attacked. Hyrule rose up to face these threats, but the evil power driving the monsters forward was staggering. The defenders were on the brink of defeat. Rauru then came up with a plan to turn the tide of the war. He entrusted secret stones to warriors with exceptional abilities. They became sages and united in an effort to finally defeat the Demon King. Rauru and the sages outnumbered the Demon King and should have been able to stop him. However, the Demon King's power had grown far beyond anything we could have imagined.
Oh, he
I
does
was
look pretty
unable to
dope.
withstand his strength. Our fight appeared all but lost. And then, Rauru. He committed himself to one final act.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
That crime will be your downfall, Ganondorf!
I guess we don't know what this power really is. Like, it seems closest to Ascend, but that's probably a unique glyph.
My heart and steal my magic. You plan to hold me here. What a clever way to solve your problems. But are you ready to pay the price for this?
Don't be so smug. I know exactly what it will cost me.
Thousands of years will pass in the blink of an eye. You only delay the inevitable.
You're wrong. Years from now, someone will appear with the sword that seals the darkness. A swordsman with the power to defeat you. Link. Remember this name.
So, I mean, I've heard that people are saying that this is like a continuation of the 3 timelines, but the fact that Ganondorf does not recognize Link right now, to me, implies that if Ganondorf doesn't recognize Link now, and he also doesn't recognize Link in Ocarina of Time, then to me they are totally different universes, and I don't find it super fun to like try and fit things together so much anymore.
Aha!
And we called the Imprisoning War, like, we've referenced that before. It's all just a retelling rather than like events in different games are connected to each other significantly. Yep. Travel to the distant past. Yep. I do hold it already. Oh, so maybe that's... It would have told me, hey, if I didn't hold it, it would have been like,
saying that sword traveled through time the same way you
here's
did.
a chance to
Yes.
find the
Why
dragon and do the sword stuff.
In my original time, the Demon King was vulnerable to even the smallest piece of this sword.
Even someone like him has vulnerabilities.
Maybe we beat the game today. It feels like we are crazy close.
What exactly are you suggesting we do with the sword?
Over time, the Master Sword is able to absorb sacred power. It can heal itself, and even grow stronger.
Curious. If we were able to empower it in that way, it could be the key to defeating the Demon King. But it could take centuries for that sword to grow strong enough. The power the Demon King wields. I do not see how this can be done. It would be impossible for you to provide it with sacred power for so long.
I can think of one way.
You mean...
Yes, I can do it. I have to.
I've told you. That act is
I need a
forbidden
tea.
for a very good reason. It would mean throwing yourself away.
Oh, Minoru!
You won't be able to change back.
The moment I had the sword, I knew what to do. I knew this was why I came to this era.
Yeah, Zelda just has a fetish. She's just like, I'm
I
gonna
want to
get
restore the
so
Master
big,
Sword and
and I'm
deliver
gonna
it to
swell
Link.
it Link all up as a dragon.
I understand. You really have made up your mind? Very well then. As a Zonai, I bear my share of blame for these events. So I too will devote myself to this goal and to this hero of yours. For the swordsman Link, I will do everything I can. Even if my body should perish, I will still be with you in spirit.
So there's 7 secret stones, 4 sages, Mineru, Rauru. No, there's 9. Sophia. Or no, Ganondorf took Sophia's. I don't remember. Let's see how many secret stones there are. Alright. Stone of Light, what Rauru had. Stone of Time, Sonia had, and then gave to Zelda. Wind, Fire, Water, Lightning, and Spirit. So Ganondorf actually has never gotten a secret stone. Interesting.
Well then.
Okay, and she died of gloom. Well, interesting. All right. Let's see. What's up with chat? Boom Headshot. Hi, Cheryl. How's it going? Going pretty well. Chill. Pretty good. Boom Headshot. Are you doing more Baldur's Gate soon? Yes. Well, not sure when, but we are doing it soon. This week we are doing Lethal Company first. Cheryl, I like JRPGs, but they're really bad about that repeating information over and over. Yeah. It's a reason that I have fallen out of love with JRPGs a little bit because of the repetition involved, unfortunately. Not the way I tell a story. Shanice, it's funny that it's basically the same mural as... Oh, are you referencing the mural with the bokoblins and monsters? Yeah. Same beats, which makes it weird that Sheikah don't... Like, ancient Sheikah aren't really a thing. Because it seems so easy to have just made it about ancient Sheikah. Noob 2 said, oh yeah, that's literally what I was saying. Yeah, so do ancient Sheikah not even exist in this game? It feels like they don't. Especially like, right, the sages were wearing the masks of the divine beasts. And the divine beasts aren't anywhere. Like, it just feels like they got repurposed. How did TTRPG stuff go this weekend? We'll talk about that when Max comes back. We've seen this. Yeah, we have. All right. The Master Sword. Yep. So I guess if I did, this is the one time they changed dialogue. If I didn't have the sword, they'd tell me that, oh, Zelda turned into a dragon and she has the sword. Vow of Mineru. Sweet. Sweet, sweet. Trial of the Master Sword. Trail of the Master Sword. Ah, complete. Woo! We did it!
Yes.
Yep, already willed it.
Aha. Well then.
Well, sweet. I guess. End of stream. Right? No, I'm kidding. So we have all 18 memories. We found the 5th sage. Oh, we'll go back to Pura. That makes sense. Let's see what this guy's up. Ready to produce. Produce what? Temper Zonite for weapons and equipment. Oh, interesting. Okay. Gladly exchange special weapons and equipment. Oh. It's kind of cool, but I feel like that's not like crazy good gear, right? A royal weapon is better than that, I think. I guess I don't have an untempered royal weapon. Oh, well, okay. So a royal weapon is 10. While a mighty... Oh, 10. Okay, it's about the same. Gotcha. Alright, what do you do? Oh, side quest. Alright, materials. Yep. Ancient blade. Oh, sweet. Sick. Excavating. Yep, zonite. Okay. 1 ancient blade for 50 pieces. Alright. Yeah, we'll do one. Side quest done, I assume. But again, that is Sheikah technology. Like, the ancient blade is Sheikah. So they just, like, overwrote the ancient Sheikah with zonite. Which is fine. I shouldn't complain. It's not a big deal. Doesn't bother me. Is this water? It looks like. Oh, it is. Okay. Well, that was easy enough. So what do I have over here now? Ahaha! Oh my god, it's so close. It's so close to... Look at... Damn. Just need to flip these 2. I guess I need to flip these 3. Whatever. Alright, I guess we're gonna go back to the overworld. With my horsey. And then maybe I'll do, like, side stuff today and then beat the game next week. Like, not side stuff, but I feel like I still have vows, Sage's wills I need to collect. Maybe I want to do... There's some side quests. Oh, I need to kill a king Hydra. Gliok. Need to kill a king Gliok. All right. We're like at the end of Tears of the Kingdom. That's oh. Does this feel new? Does that feel... What the fuck is this? What's going on here? Oh my god, could I have done energy cells over here the whole time? I just didn't fucking realize it. That's funny. Oh. Pose. Interesting. Returns pose to the afterlife where they belong. Okay. Okay. Dark clump. Interesting. Oh. Well, neat. I mean, I got bows, right? Oh, shit! I could buy bombs from this dude? Oh my god, have I been missing out on this entire time? It feels like it. There are more of these down there? Oh. Am I bad at this game? It feels like I am. Well, neat. Fifth Sage, we found her!
What?
Yes, we did. Pull something up. There we go. Alright. Now we have news about the princess. Yep. Worked.
What?
Master Sword was restored. I mean, we've had it this whole time. Yeah. When were we planning on telling? Yeah. Head of a white dragon. White dragon. I don't even call her white. She's like gold.
Check it.
Sick. Oh. Well, sweet. Good to knock that one off.
Huh? Mm-hmm. What?
Deepest reaches of the depths, far below Hyrule Castle. Yep. Gloom down there. Yep. We did it. Heart container?
Yes. Check it.
Right in the face. Destroy Ganondorf. Woo! Find Princess Zelda and destroy Ganondorf. Well, sick. Josho, you did good, kid.
Oh.
And we found Zelda.
Oh. Oh.
Not just any Demon King. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I mean, there's a lot we could be doing. I'm not trying to 100% the game, and I'm certainly not going to 100% it on stream. So let's just take a look. See, okay, Monster King Gliok. That's why I want a picture of a King Gliok. So Shrine quests are done. Pride of the Gerudo. Yep. Where are the wells? Yep. Mother Goddess statue. Oh yeah, let's knock this one out. So I went to the 3 goddess statues. I got some dragon claws. Basically, they just each one gave me a stone, like an elemental stone, so I could evolve my Eevee. But let's go check out the Mother Goddess statue. See what is up. Mama. Mama. While I'm looking at my mapsy here for a second. All right. Oh. That was granted you the power to summon her construct. Neat. Oh, so it's 4 ghosts and then a fucking robot? That's funny. Wow. Yeah, look at the goddess statue. Yay, we did it. Wow. Pray. All day, every day, all I do is pray, son. White Sword of the Sky. Well, let's take a look at this thing. Alright, there's our Master Sword. Is it just the Skyward Sword? Is that what we got? It feels like it is. And if it is, I think we got to give the White Sword of the Sky a little dragon power, right? I forgot that the Master Sword... I do wish I could turn off the melding of the... Like, just appearance-wise, the skins. That's a complaint I have.
I'm back.
Hey! Okay, so, Max, what you missed, we literally have the last quest of the game.
Nice.
But I think I'm going to save it for next Monday. And instead, I'm not trying to 100%, but I'm trying to power up my sages first.
Okay.
It did one of the most annoying things where it showed us. So 2 things happened. One thing really annoyed me, and one thing that I wanted to kind of like give them props for. It showed us the cutscene of Zelda decided to become a dragon again. And it's like, we already unlocked that. You don't need to show it to me again. But then Mineru talks about like, oh yeah, you need to get the Master Sword. And then she looks at Link and she's like, oh, you've already got it. So I do appreciate that they did that one thing where they were like,
where they basically checked to see the state of the game.
Yeah. Which, again, like, if we're talking about checking...
Because they haven't done much of that from what I can tell.
Yeah, and that's what's annoying, right? Like, okay, so, like, they have, right, all these memories, like, these are, I assume, file locations somewhere. They should be able to check...
They at least have a flag to make it show that those exist.
Yeah. So,
that you should see those files, basically.
Yeah, so it does feel like dialogue should really have been checked and altered depending on...
Well, and a game would already be doing that too. Like, there's certain quests that have stages to them. Like, so they clearly have a record of what you have been doing. They just don't want to do a bunch of dialogue that is either not shown. Like, actually, that's the crazy thing about Baldur's Gate, is just how much money they spend on dialogue that some players will just never see.
Yeah.
In particular, there's like 3 different levels of like, how do I say this? There's like, when you finish the first zone, there are people who can be left behind, like basically who are still alive.
Yeah.
And you can end up in a situation where like 3 different people who could be in the last cutscene, and each one of them replaces the other, are all dead, and they still have a contingency.
Yeah. The
I
odds
read
of
about.
getting to that point are pretty low.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Alright, I think we're gonna go fight a King Gleok now. I want to go to this island, and I'm pretty sure at this island is like the strongest of the Gleok dragons.
You have to do some pretty nutty things to get that to happen. The situation.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil anything
like,
for anybody.
purposefully
But,
killing companions, I assume.
it's not even. No, it's not even that. These are just. These are named NPCs that are never going to be part of your party. That if you do things in a very unintuitive order, you could end up with most of them, if not all of them, dead. And they still made sure that, like, there was somebody there in the final cutscene, and who was introduced because you did certain things, basically. And then that person still persists into the second and third parts of the game.
Interesting.
So, like, it is very nutty.
I think we're gonna switch bows.
And those people, the person that replaces each, like, time that you wipe, get rid of one of the people who could have been there, each of them has their own special dialogue.
Yeah. It's like a lot of, clearly a lot of care and effort went into making the world feel consistent.
I need to go look up the article, because trying to get, I mean, the amount of stuff you have to do, that is, like, it's very unintuitive how you would end up in that situation, but they accounted for it, basically.
There he is. Oh, I like that you can see him silhouetted against the moon.
Yeah, and the multiple heads.
That's very thematic. So I think what makes him special is each head does a different status effect. I don't know. I'm assuming he'll have more HP than normal. But my intention here is not to really let him, like, do much of his nonsense.
Have you seen that they for Warhammer, they put out new models for the Crude Hounds?
No. Are they cool?
They are. So I'll send you a picture real quick.
Oh shit, he sees me. Well, I was hoping we'd last a little longer than that.
You can look at that when you're not about to enter combat. There you go.
Let's see. Do I have enough just like bullshit materials that I can? All right, fire. I want fire against this dude.
Oh, do each of the heads actually care about the element?
I think so. I want.
I guess it wouldn't surprise me.
Against this dude. I don't know what lightning wants. Water? Do you give a shit about water?
Maybe earth.
I don't have that one.
No plant arrow. Maybe just normal arrows. They're made of wood.
Oh, actually I got him. Woo! Yeah. Wood's not conductive. That makes sense.
I found his weakness. Slashing damage.
Everyone beat the shit out of this guy!
I like that your robot showed up too.
Yeah, I since I unlocked her as a summon, I basically have 5 sages now. So if I go over here, and look at this, she's purple, purple, orange, and then it's just like green, blue, red, green. Fuck you, Cameron. Makes me mad.
It's their color identities for Commander.
Yeah.
The other ones are just monocolored.
I want to build one of these real quick. Where's our rocket platform? Ah, here we go. Oh, fuck. Build it. Get on top. See ya! And the reason we do that is one of these. Oh, I'm out of position. God damn it. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Ice. Did we decide? It seemed like water worked.
Yeah, it seemed fine.
Short circuit. Not as good as the others.
You need a rubber arrow insulating.
Yeah. Oh, but... And we swing!
Just the team going to town on them. I
Yeah.
love it.
Alright, run, run, run. Oh god.
And that the team just, like, does not dodge.
Yeah.
Everyone on the team is a
teams-
tank.
It's technically like I'm a necromancer, right? They're all a bunch of undead. Ah, fuck.
Uh-huh.
Alright, get back on the horse.
I mean, you really do have Ami's crew here.
Goodbye.
You have a robot and 4 undead.
Yeah.
That's their infernal worm.
Oh my god, the platforms are they're persistent.
You just stand up there.
Essentially. Oh god damn it, you're blocking my shot, dude. Fucking bird bastard. I can't see shit. Ah, wait. Okay. You need fire.
Your dude right next to you. One of the guardians. I love that. And they just fly after you.
They roll hard. Oh, Master Sword's running low on energy.
Not because the platforms are up there.
No, I'm just swinging it. The Master Sword doesn't break like other things does. It runs low on energy, and then it has a cooldown. But speaking of which,
Yeah, just like the Master Sword in the other games, right?
yeah. Adios.
Why does one rocket work with that?
Uh.
Why is it stable? I mean,
That is a property of the platform. The platform stays where it is. So the rocket, if the rocket's or like the rocket can't reorient it. It can reposition it, but it can't reorient it. There's other things that if you touch a rocket too, they wouldn't do that. But that's like a unique property of the.
That's cool.
All right. Oh, you're down.
Have you suggested to your company that you start investigating Zonite technology?
So, yeah. Listen, I don't know what they're on, but they got some good ass shit.
Yeah, they have figured out some things about physics that we should investigate.
Yeah. And I think this might be the end of the fight. Ah! I say that as soon as my Master Sword runs out of energy. What do we want to use? I guess we'll do this.
That's not the way you want to hear this may be the end of the fight.
Yeah.
Is my weapon is out of energy.
Yeah. Oh, and my blade broke. Alright, what do we use now? Let's pull out... I guess we'll use these two-handed spears. Whew. Oh shit, we're flying. Alright. Build.
I like that.
Get
Are
on.
you trying to get away?
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm ready for your ass. Oh shit.
Dragon's like, this small mammal came after me.
Yeah, I guess not as high as I wanted to go.
I bet you can use those columns, though, to get up there, right?
Yeah. Ah, fuck.
Maybe not.
No, I think I can. He was ready for me.
He's just
Oh,
just
God.
setting those up as traps.
Yeah. Come on, come on. Make it. Zoom. Oh, fuck. He is setting them up as traps.
He's metagaming the player.
Yeah.
He's like, I know they'll go for these. As soon
Oh my
just fires a
god.
lightning bolt right down them.
Seriously. Alright, let's... You know what? I need to build me
Somebody
another
must have
one of
enjoyed
these.
creating this fight.
Oh, it's a great fight. I'm gonna see. Can I just do?
They're like, what if we just create these columns that the player thinks they should use, and then just keep hitting them with lightning?
Alright. 2 rockets. Can I go twice as high? Rainbow in the sky. Ah, fuck!
You can, but
Holy shit! He fucked me. That was
he
good.
is Pikachu from Smash Bros.
Oh
with
my
his abilities
god.
here.
Yeah, he's really wrecking me. I guess I'm gonna eat some fish.
He has the player's playbook. He understands.
Yeah.
He's read your PHP.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I can use the ice better. Alright, things are quiet. Get on top. Alright.
Oh no.
Please.
Oh, that's a neat way to do this.
Yeah, I think it's the idea is oh, and I'm up high. Beautiful.
Wow.
Oh
And look,
shit.
he's got stuff up here that he's
yeah.
or he's got ice
Yeah,
that he's already formed up here.
He's ready for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's-
Yeah, this is a
What a-
fun ass fight. I like this
what a
one a
dick.
lot. Alright, we're gonna go eyeballs here. I'm gonna homing shot these. Alright, get you the fuck out of here. There we go. Oh, and dead. And dead. Oh fuck, I didn't take a picture. Oh shit.
Is that the last of his species?
No.
Did you just 100% a species?
No, I think these aren't unique. But
That these are just everywhere?
I think up here there's a couple of these islands that have them. But I was definitely supposed to take a picture of it. Holy shit, did my bike survive the whole fight? Oh, look at that.
He determined it was a non-threat.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I wasn't
If
on
you
it.
had tried to flee, that's what he would have taken out your transportation.
Yeah. But I mean, that was a much better fight than the fifth sage fight.
I also feel like that fight was actually the creature you fought was fighting smartly.
Yeah, I really.
I don't know
liked it.
how intelligent it's supposed to be, but it at least like it felt intelligent.
The fact that like it was, even if I don't think it was like reacting to me, right? It was following a script, but the script was written in a cool way that it was like, here is what you're expecting to happen, and we're going to exploit that expectation.
And yeah, exactly. And at this point, they've built that expectation, so they know that it's okay to exploit it, basically.
Yeah, that was well played. Well, that is the end of the
really
Monster
appreciate...
Hunter stream. Thanks everybody for hunting.
Yeah. As Link like dies from hypothermia.
Yeah. Let's. I guess the problem is I want to wear. I'll put on.
I like the responses for the nice hunt.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, so. Where? So that was a Sage's Will. I want to find some more of those. While we're doing that, we will. I guess we'll just chat. Max, how's? Oh, yeah. Cheryl was asking about TTRPG stuff, and I have not. I haven't actually responded yet.
I was just talking to a friend actually before the stream started about his RPG that he just ran, or his first D&D campaign he DM'd.
Oh,
also,
nice.
he has never played in a D&D campaign, and his first experience was DMing.
Well, good on him. That's
Yeah, I was like, that is not the normal route that people
yeah
that most people take when they enter D&D, and that is impressive actually.
The first generation, that's how you had to do it because there were no DMs.
Well, yeah.
But it has been many an age since that was the case. So good on
Yes.
you. How was
since the times of Mr. Gygax has it been this way.
Yeah, how was his first time? He liked it. He had a good time.
It went well, and not only was running his first D&D campaign, but he was running his campaign set in New Capenna.
Oh, so he's a Magic the Gathering person.
Yeah, which also is like, so there's not just like random monsters running around New Capenna. The entire city is like inside a steel dome that Angel set up. So like, it'd be pretty bad if they just, left monsters in there for people. Although I guess that could be their version of the Thunderdome, depending upon the lore.
I'm not
But
super familiar with New Capenna, except that I think
I
it
was not
like...
either until I started asking him about like basically I'm like giving him advice, but I'm like, hey, but I know very little about the lore of New Capenna, so like, does this even like fit? Like,
What yeah, what I remember is it's angels versus devils, but it's also mobsters.
it's devils control the point. Well, I guess in this case, Magic doesn't make a distinction between devils and demons, if I remember right. They just call
I
them
don't
all
think
demons.
so. Yeah.
But basically, they are devils because they're lawful. They control the plane. They use they use angels to make this thing called Halo, which is their magical gasoline and drug of choice.
So devils have taken over from angels.
Yeah, and there's like, if I remember right, there's like, in the set itself, because there's multiple time periods defined for New Capenna, and like his is taking place like pre-Phyrexian invasion,
Right.
and also pre all the angels being wiped, well, most of the angels being wiped out, but like during the first Capenna set, if I remember correct, we learned that there's like one angel left basically, and that's the one that's producing all the Halo. So that's interesting. I don't exactly understand. I never dug into how that works, how the Halo is produced. My understanding originally was that like they were basically grinding up angels to make Halo, in the sense that like an angel needed to die for it, not that they're literally grinding them.
Yeah.
But after learning that there's that one angel left and that's how they're getting their Halo, I'm like, it wouldn't add up very well. So I'm not exactly sure on that part. But it's an interesting setting for D&D just because you don't have a lot of the monsters that are running around are things that have been fabricated on the plane. Like, for example, there's like this monster called a Topiary Stomper, which is like a gigantic like T-Rex sculpture made from a topiary that's been animated. So it's just like a bush that's shaped like a T-Rex running around.
Oh, I like that.
There's the Colossus of Industry, which is basically a gigantic like it's like a Terrask-sized construct that they use for construction. So like it's CR23 or something like that. And you can like go inside it because it's a building.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not like moving around, but you could technically fight it. Oh, your party would not last long fighting that thing up for like heads up. I would not suggest a fair fight against one.
Is there some sort of guide for New Capenna that came out?
There's a fan one that was made.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's very good. Like probably good enough that I had to ask myself if this was like Wizards at first.
Oh, neat.
So I was pretty happy with that. Of course, it helps a lot that they can, lift a lot of the art Magic had to make their guide.
I've been doing that on tokens forever now. Like,
but the formatting is incredible.
Dinosaur, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna.
Yeah, I guess I'll get this copyrighted Magic the Gathering art.
Yeah, Ixalan.
Yay. Yeah. Dreadmaw, Colossus, and all of them. Yeah. Right? But the other thing that's I really like about this setting is that it has all the different animal people that were introduced in there, like the rocks, the rhino people.
Oh.
That you can play as. They did a good job on that. And also, the setting has cars, which I have to say, if you need a fireball at any level, a car is, in some cases, a reusable fireball.
I guess
personally,
it's got
I
cars because
suggested
they're
to him.
mobsters, right? Is that the they're is
What
it
is
is it like it's supposed
It's
to be
like-
like 20s style prohibition
Yes,
cars?
it's like roaring 20s, like setting with like, but also there's literally no police or town guard. Everything is controlled by the gangs. There is a private force, a private security force, which you can hire, which is about as close as you get to the police. And fire department. I should also mention that.
Hyper capitalism.
Yeah. The 20s
The fire
ain't stopping.
the fire department swings by. Have you paid your don't catch on fire fee this month?
Yeah, I was actually suggesting to him that he make a spell called, make a custom spell called Extinguish. All it does is it puts out fires. Like, because I was like, you know, spells that would put out a fire, like a massive fire, like a Chicago great fire situation,
Yeah.
are like level 5, basically.
Yeah.
Or higher. And I'm like, you're not just asking some random person to cast a level 5 spell for you. Even
Yeah.
if they did show up, they wouldn't have a lot of business. Especially as the person's house is burning down.
Yeah. Although that's a great time to put on some sales pressure.
Yes, exactly. But I was like, you know, if they... It makes a lot of sense that, like, an organization like that would come up with their own spell for that. And I was like, also... It wouldn't be very useful for players either, because usually when you're lighting things on fire, it's because you're at a severe action economy disadvantage.
Yeah, you're trying
So,
to clear
putting out the fire-
the mobs.
Yeah, putting out the fire is not to your benefit in a lot of scenarios where players would light a fire. So I was like, you know, actually that spell could probably be pretty low if all it did was just like in this radius put out fires.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I guess you'd almost
It would actually be
use it
more
as
powerful.
non-magical darkness. Like,
Well,
it would have to be less powerful than darkness, I think.
Well,
Or
exactly.
a
And
less,
actually,
less
in New
smaller
Capenna,
spell level.
it's perfect for that because people don't use torches as their main source of light. They have electricity.
Oh, so it doesn't even really do what darkness
And
does.
all their combustion engines are... Well, all their engines are not combustion, is what I should say. They run off of Halo, which they don't give us a good indication if they're, like, burning it or anything. I mean, the cars are hovering, so... But also, every car in, the art has, like, inches of clearance off the ground, which I love that. And one of them has, like, an armored prow.
Oh, everyone
like-
rides low?
Oh, man, extremely. I'm like, if you get hit by one of these cars, like, you're getting dragged.
The best defensive structure is a high curb.
Yeah, and I'm actually thinking to myself, I'm like, man, this is, like, totally 20s. Like, no one cares about the pedestrian on the street.
Yeah.
Like, that guy, it's his fault that he took my bumper. And that's why I put a +1 bumper on this car. And I would totally, if I was running in this setting, people would have, like, +1, like, plows on their car and rams.
Yeah.
Bumpers.
I love it. I think we're just going to fight another King Gliok, because I definitely need to take a picture of it.
Yeah, I want my bumper, my flaming bumper. When I hit them, they just burst in the flames with the car.
Ooh,
But also, I love that whoever designed this, there's only one thing that's a little weird here. They have the limousine as a gargantuan vehicle because it's 30 by 10.
Oh, it's
But
like
I'm
the
like-
Batmobile equivalent?
So it's like long, but like I typically think of the long gargantuan as also being like pretty tall. You know what I mean?
I guess in Magic the Gathering, like all the sizes in 5th edition Magic are symmetrical.
In D&D,
Yeah.
you mean?
Or sorry, in D&D, yeah.
Yeah, because I guess I should mention that too. Is that before 5th edition, maybe in 4th edition, I don't know, but there was 2 different gargantuans. There was a long gargantuan and there was a tall gargantuan. So like a tall gargantuan is like a square creature, like a giant, or like one of the giants that would have been that big. And then a long gargantuan would be like a ancient dragon. where it's just as tall as the tall gargantuan, but it is a rectangle, basically.
Oh, let's
In the
fuck
limousine
this dude
is
up.
a rectangle, but there was never such a thing as like a short, like a stubby gargantuan creature is basically what this would be, because it'd be like 30 by 10 by 10.
Yes.
But on the dimensions they put on the limousine, or any creature for that matter, they never tell you the third dimension, you know. There's only ever, like, 2, basically. Which, it does simplify things, but it's also really funny to just see, like, a gargantuan vehicle. It's not there's nothing wrong with it. It works. It's just, when I saw it, I kind of got a kick out of it. But, they have crashing damage here. A crashing table. And the gargantuan crashing damage is 16d8. And I'm like, oh my god, that'd be beautiful. That is a lot of damage for a level 1 person with a driver's license to be dealing.
Ooh. Oh, that's a pretty good picture, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got his fucking eyes closed. He blinked!
The party's looking good right before the breath weapon.
Oh, that's a better one. Yeah, it's a better one. Oh, fuck.
I'm just thinking about a hunter in Monster Hunter just being like snapping pictures like while the party is being attacked.
I
Like,
mean, that's what World introduced, that fucking... well, Iceborne, the expansion introduced that fucking camera.
Every other frame is a party member getting picked up by the pickle and mole.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Devil Joe.
Alright, we're gonna put together our little platform. Well, this feels
Surely
like a pretty
somebody has
solid
made
strategy.
stats
Nope, not
for...
that.
Somebody's made stats for, Monster Hunter.
Oh, yes. There is, yes, a stat book for it. I mean, it's
I need to see
obviously, but...
what the stats are for the pickle. Devil Joe, D&D. Because the pickle is probably, oh my god, Elder Devil Joe.
Oh, fuck.
Oh god, somebody made stats for...
Did you see
somebody made
that?
stats for Emrakul. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I was looking at...
I hit the... Make a... grab a clip real quick on if you can rewind or whatever the time slot... what is it? 7:03? So let me grab that. Okay. So 7:03... I need to grab a clip. I'm too busy firing arrows. I hit the ground fucking hard. I'm like, just like shooting arrows in slow motion, and then you just hear Link go, ooh! Ooh. Oh, fuck. Alright, let's grab... Yeah.
They really should do a collaboration. And do a Monster Hunter, D&D monster manual. It would be beautiful. And like the CR of every monster would be something that, like, the vast majority of parties could never run into.
I guess you'd set them like decently high, right? Like what, CR?
I'm trying to think, like, where would a
low?
Monster Hunter monster even, like, the shittiest one, where would it, like, start? I mean, the Jagras, I guess those are, like, normal monsters for D&D purposes. But those aren't, like, I mean, you know, they're tiny compared to a Monster Hunter monster.
Yeah, it would be...
I guess, you know, what's the CR of the average animal in Australia? We can start there.
It would be like the Great Jaggy would be like the low end of things.
Yeah, yeah. It's like probably as deadly as a kiwi.
I guess because I think I view CR like a little differently than you do, and I mean do you view CR as like an objective measurement of power level across the world?
I view it as a probably incredibly inaccurate rating of how many people should go up against something.
Yeah.
And it is not to be trusted.
Yeah, I view it more like
I don't mind
of a
looking at it.
campaign.
because, like, it also, I should say, it doesn't, CR's never lined up very well with, like, what it's intended for, because, like, if you're playing with a group of people who are very min-maxed, like, they're going to make certain CRs look pretty dang ridiculous. Like, they're going to be able to punch above their weight. Whereas, like, a party that either doesn't know what they're doing or is, like, RPing quite a bit, like how I took, like, unseen... Like, I didn't even take mage armor on
if you're not taking shield
Dr. Bradbury
and counterspell and stuff.
Yeah, like, Dr. Bradbury did not have mage armor. So, like, he is definitely not at the power level he should be at, according to his level.
Yeah.
So CR is, like, something I look at just because I think it's, like, fun to... I look at it because I think it's fun to see how far off they might be based on, like, different measures of, like, a party going up against it.
Yeah, so in that sense, if I was designing a campaign of monsters, I think I'd set, like, the lowest monster at CR, like, maybe 3, so that, like, early on the players could hunt, for example, a great Jaggy.
Yeah. Would that be, like, would that be large?
Yeah, a great Jaggy would be large.
It's not, yeah, okay. I was thinking, like, it's not that big, actually. It's a little bit, like, when I'm thinking about it, I was like, so how would that compare to an ogre? And I'm like, it's a little bit longer, but you could still put it in the 10 by 10.
Oh, fuck.
Like, I guess if I put a token for it on the table, I'd just have, like, its tail kind of coming a little bit out. But I'd treat it as still as if it were a 10 by 10.
Yeah.
Which then means, like, a lot of the monsters still fit in, like, a nice 10 by 10.
And I do think,
Devil Joe's probably
go.
huge, right?
Woo! Devil Jojo, I might make...
Gargantuan?
Gargantuan.
Is there something between huge and Gargantuan?
Not in 5th edition.
I don't even know if there was previously, to be honest.
I guess there was something past Gargantuan in older editions, which was Colossal.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There was. Man, I forgot about that. Yeah, there was Colossal. 6... God. Yeah, it was... That is 30 feet by 30 feet. I forgot about that. Oh my god. Yeah, so when I was saying Gargantuan before, I was actually thinking Colossal. Because okay. Colossal is where you got the Colossal Tall and the Colossal Long.
Yes.
And dragons were as far as I know, they were the only thing that was Colossal Long.
Alright,
There's probably some other, like, worm or something that I don't know about.
And now I need a double platform. What I have realized just now is that these fights really take me out of oh fuck, okay.
Out of the urgency of the story?
No.
And Link was given his final quest. So he set out on a mission to destroy all the dragons in the nation.
Yeah.
Except his girlfriend.
Yeah. There can only be one dragon. Listen. If there's no chance of you giving me an epic beach, you gotta die.
No, I can't.
No, it just costs me, like, because I'm building those platforms, I wasn't paying attention to how much Zonite it's costing me to kill these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, and I'm getting hurt. Why am I getting... Oh, it's cold again. Goddamn Link. Yeah.
That is kind of funny. So, you mentioned, like, Great Jaggers being, like, a challenge rating 3. And I actually think that makes sense if you're, like, doing the entire setting from the ground up.
Yes, that's exactly the point I was gonna make, is, like,
actually,
in the context
an
of...
ogre's at CR3, right?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Let me check real quick. So that one may even work. That one may just, like, actually just slot into D&D very well.
It's the big thing is, and the reason I probably would never super be interested in playing a Monster Hunter D&D game is because I do feel like Monster Hunter definitely needs like some dedicated mechanics.
Oh,
to-
I should say, I wasn't saying I would be interested in that. I was saying I'd be interested in, like, basically throwing those monsters in from time to time.
Yeah, yeah. I Cheryl says I'd love to play an Ixalan. To that end, would I like if I were to use Monster Hunter monsters? Mine, what I would do is I'd essentially add them in Chult. Chult is like the island, the continent of dinosaurs and all that stuff. So they'd like fit right in with all the other megafauna and super predators.
So basically, Chult is Jurassic Park. Like, somebody went there and used magic to make Jurassic Park. They weren't satisfied with the other super predators on their existing continent.
As far as I know, they everything in Chult occurs naturally, which is an important distinction because it lets druids turn into stuff. Like, oh, so here's a question: Would you want your Monster Hunter monsters to be beasts or aberrations or monstrosities?
Well, in Monster Hunter World, they're not made, right?
They're like animals. They're just like really cool animals.
Then yeah, I would use them as beasts.
Yeah.
Especially because I would want a hunter to be able to tame one at a high enough level.
And then a druid to be able to turn into one.
Yeah.
Which
and
I think is
that
awesome.
has some serious ramifications for polymorph, but I would still let it happen.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would be a real shame to introduce these and then be like, but I'm sorry, druid, you can't have fun.
Yeah, these are different somehow. And that is one of the things that I like. I'm running my the one that Cheryl is actually in, the Barovian play-by-post. Like the party's just like they've done everything. They're hitting level 6, and like the Moon Druid gets like new abilities and stuff. But I was looking at like, okay, when you get a high enough level, what beast can the Moon Druid turn into? And it's like, well, things cap out at like CR8, so.
Yeah.
Like, no, come on. I mean, they don't have to be like crazy strong monsters, but just being able to scale them all the way would be nice.
Yeah, well, and they used to be able to turn into a lot more stuff. It was a little nutty, but I mean, honestly, when you get up to that level, I think that's to be expected. That things are not going to be balanced.
Yeah. And I guess in like...
Yeah, because they used to be able to turn into monstrosities too, if I remember right. Or at least there was a subclass that could.
Yeah, in the consistency of the world, I get why beasts specifically won't scale. It's because they're supposed to be like the normal things.
Yeah.
But it's, from a gameplay perspective, it's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. In this universe,
the druids, there was a...
Darwin's been outclassed.
Yeah.
Evolution has come up against a brick wall of magic.
Yeah.
And the T-Rex is about as good as it gets.
Oh shit, actually, I should get the fuck out of here, because there's a blood moon happening.
Monstrosities are when you've made it past evolution.
Yeah.
You've broken through the barrier.
Yeah. Oh, I should turn in.
But if I remember right, a druid back in 3E, or like I said, at least one of the subclasses could become a Teresk. Which I can only imagine how disruptive that is to a campaign.
I wonder if it was, could they wild shape into Teresk, or did they learn like true polymorph or something?
Wild shape.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Because there was in 3E, you had classes called prestige classes, where you had to meet certain requirements to take that class. And nowadays we have the what are they? Do they call them special? No, that's not what they call them.
We don't really have prestige classes. We have subclasses.
They're baked in, the subclass. There you go. Basically, instead of having the prestige classes, we have the subclasses, and it makes things a lot easier. I think it's just a more streamlined version of those, essentially. And there was essentially any type of like thing that a player might want to do, and like just like max out how they do it. There's probably a subclass for doing it. So like there was a subclass for druid that was like entirely intended to like tame animals. There was a subclass for druid that was entirely intended to max out like polymorph.
Yeah.
And you even got to the point where like you could turn into like things that don't make sense for a druid, like a gelatinous cube.
Right.
The only thing I think you couldn't ever turn into as a druid with that subclass was undead and constructs, which, you know, that makes sense. But even some of the other things that you've managed to be able to turn into by the end were crazy. It was to the point that, like, you could, if you've got 10 levels in it, you could change what you were polymorphed every single round without using your action.
Gotcha.
So it was, like, basically just fighting, like, a shapeshifter, like a blob that's just changing. It was ridiculous.
Oh shit, Blood Moon's out.
The one I remember the most, though, is there's this ranger subclass for monster taming. You could basically spec him to be the Pied Piper. He basically would be able to get like 64 hit dice of creatures, and a rat is like 1/4 of a hit dice. And then every creature that he had could communicate to 10 other creatures like they had the leadership feat. So he could end up... Yes, he'd have like... What would that be? He'd have like 256 rats that have 10 other rats with him. So like it was the Pied Piper, like you could bury somebody in rats. Not that that's like a very impressive thing when you're like level 16 to bury somebody in rats, but it is pretty funny.
I like it. I think
it's the idea that you could build the Pied Piper is the interesting part. Not that it was impressive or anything like that.
It's not a hey, here's how to min-max a build. It's hey, here is how to do this particular thing.
I mean, your action economy is incredible, but you know, even 256 rats with their 256 or 2,560 best friends are not going to fight a Tarisk.
Yeah. They might write Shakespeare though. You give them enough typewriters.
You are getting to the point where you might be able to build your rat computer, your large rat model. Every rat has a state, on or off.
Yeah. Cheryl says, she just wanted to shout out that they miss you in the play-by-post campaign. We did kill your character a little while ago. Who was brought back. I mean, they were a zombie. Basically, everyone who left the campaign, I turned into zombies at some point or another.
That seems like a fitting end.
Yeah, keep in theme with Barovia.
Yeah. Yeah, especially Barovia. I forgot about that. That we were ending up there.
Yeah, they're deep in it.
I meant to ask you. So, I noticed on some monsters in D&D, they have a legendary action that's just what was it? Shoot, hold on. Let me find the exact wording on it. I saw one earlier today that had it. That's just called Detect, and it says makes a Wisdom Perception check. Do you know what the design purpose of that is? Not like I can see how you might interpret its usage. I'm curious what they were, if you were aware of what the intended purpose was, you know, as the designers made it.
What monster has Detect?
So I know I've seen ones in the actual, like, in the monster manual. I don't have one on hand. I just saw one when I was looking through the new Capenna stuff, and I was like, I know I've seen that on other things, but I don't know what the purpose is, or the intended purpose, I should say.
Yeah.
I can make a lot of guesses as to what you could use it for. You know, you could let them redo like a perception check. I'm gonna find one of the monsters that had it. Man, I need something that... I need, like, regex in their search right now. So I can do, like, Legendary Star Detect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever seen it before.
But I ran into one the other day, then I ran into it again in the new Capenna stuff, and I was like... If you're, like, sneaking around something, and, you know, they don't know you're there, should you be able to use that legendary action? Or was the intent not so much that you would, like, reuse it for that, but instead that you would, like, if somebody turned invisible in front of the monster, then he would have a chance to basically redo detecting them. Now, to be fair, this thing has legendary actions, so it probably has a spell that can help with this, but,
I guess
you know.
if it's detect as a legendary action, to me that implies...
Oh
that
yeah, dragons have it. All dragons have it.
Okay, let me...
It just detect dragon. The dragon makes a wisdom perception check. Adult blue dragon is the one I'm looking at right now that has it.
I guess maybe it's like specifically kind of an anti-rogue or gloomstalker ability where as a legendary action, so it can't use it as a reaction, but let's say a rogue hides and the dragon, rogue makes a stealth check against dragon's passive perception.
And we're talking about, like, stealthing after the dragon has seen it, right?
Yes, because generally you wouldn't be using legendary actions if you're not, like, in a fight.
That's what the first thing I was thinking of when I was like, that's kind of meta if the DM, like, basically is like, I failed my passive perception. Yeah, I'm now going to deliberately use a legendary action before I've engaged you. And I was like, so I assume that's not the intent, but that's why I worded the question so specifically, where I was like, I know, like, I could see how some DMs might interpret it and might use it that way, but, like, I'm wondering what the intent was. And I think you and me are kind of on the same page that, like, the idea is that if the dragon knows you're there and you then become hidden in some way.
Yes.
It then has a legendary action, so it's not just standing there. It can do something to try to find you.
Yeah, I think legendary actions only work in the context of initiative. Like, legendary actions specifically say the monster does it at the end of a player's turn, or at the end of another creature's turn.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I just read that part. It can be... Because I'm not too... I actually, now that I think about it, I haven't run a campaign where it's been high enough to run into something with legendary actions.
I have definitely, I have started, as part of my DM style, I use legendary actions at a much lower level than they recommend. Specifically because in 5th edition... If you want the party to fight one monster, if without legendary actions, it's just gonna get its shit kicked in.
Oh yeah, the action economy is so, like,
strong,
one-sided.
Yeah.
That, I mean, they're gonna get rocked. Like, and like half the spells they could cast will have concentration, so that's gonna get broken pretty quick.
Yes. So I highly recommend using legendary actions lower than.
I would actually love to see some more design of that, where, like an ogre, for example. Like, that's big enough, in, like, the first time the party runs into it, you know, it's gonna be pretty deadly. Giving that a legendary action would not be, like, not something, like, crazy, like... I guess I would like to see a... Legendary action implies that the creature is pretty, like, dang powerful. I'd love to see something in between. Or at least, like, a rebranding so that you can, like, slap it on things that are not, like... a boss.
No, I just put it on stuff, and I use it basically as is.
I agree with you. Like, that's why I said at the end I was, like, rebranding instead of, like... because you don't need to change, like, anything about how it works. But it does feel a little weird to have, like, it be called legendary action on, like, a random ogre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like the idea of basically giving, like, almost spell-like abilities that way to things.
Yeah.
It gives a lot of design space, is what I mean.
And then if you haven't looked at the Vecna stat block, Vecna has something called legendary reactions. And I've started on really hard, like things that I really want to push the
boy.
party on. I do both. So
Legendary reactions. That's amazing.
it's
Wow.
basically because like
That's-
if you want your
that's
boss to like
fantastic.
not just if you're a spellcaster, especially and you're a boss, like if you don't want to be forced to shield every turn, you need more than one reaction. Like you've got to be able to.
Vecna has my favorite ability in all of D&D I've ever seen.
Which one?
Unusual nature. Vecna doesn't require air, food, drink,
Oh
or
yeah,
sleep.
yeah. Well, he's a lich.
He's perfect.
Yeah. You're not wrong there.
I mean, like I said, my first game of 2E had some of us dying in a vacuum trap. So the DM conditioned me from an early age to appreciate not needing to need air. That also had a character drown in plate mail on water. So, you know, I do appreciate not needing to, like, have no armor while on water.
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking something about just like the different styles of games. I was talking something today about the Waterdeep campaign, and I don't want to spoil it, but I was talking to Reddit about looking for ideas on this thing. And I was like, okay, so I set up a dungeon, and the players are leaving the safety of the inn because, well, Nate's character, right, we all know he got bit by a werewolf. And in-game, like... and
Was one of those little urchins? Those little bastards?
No, this was before I took over the thing.
The gutter rats?
When I was doing a side mission thing, it was an actual werewolf. But
I was hoping you'd make him into a were-rat.
no, but they have run into the gutter rats and stuff. But so
Yeah.
so it's the night that he will turn, but it's not midnight yet. They're
Nice.
raiding. They're beginning their raid on Kolat Towers, the Zentarum HQ.
Nate should just get himself full plate made of silver.
Yeah.
He turns that'll keep him busy.
They're doing some prep for it, but they decided that they're going to go out on this night because of the. I created a sense of urgency with. With this Zentarum thing, and fuck. Oh, that's fine. So they're doing this raid, and there is a chance that they don't make it back in time for him to to get things prepped.
Secure himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to me, that's a source of tension in the campaign, and that's a result of player choice. And every fucking response to like the scenario I was outlining was like, well, your character's prepped. That like, shouldn't you reward him? Why are you like letting them go out? And I'm like, look, that's like. I'm being accused of railroading. I'm like, this isn't railroading. This is like creating a scenario. Yeah, this is interesting gameplay and story. Like that's not what fucking railroading is.
If it were railroading, like they would not have a choice whether to go out or not. You would be telling them that during the middle of combat, Nate is a werewolf. Good luck.
Yeah.
How does lycanthropy work in this edition?
Rules as written, it's a curse, and your character is essentially dead.
Where do you find the rules for it, even?
If you're in D&D Beyond, I would just search the
look for werewolf, or
yeah, and then there'll be a link in there on the lycanthropy rules.
Yeah, I started searching for it, and I was like, you know what? That is not going to be easy to track down. It never has been, because of how it's a cross-cutting concern between a creature and like a curse, and in some cases like a feat. It is such a weird ability.
Yeah, I have essentially homebrewed lycanthropy rules specifically because I wanted, like, I don't want Nate to lose his character because of lycanthropy.
Yeah. Also, it's pretty interesting that, like, remove curse can actually remove it. That's, I mean, it's not a super high-level spell, so that's kind of nice.
Oh, well, that was easy. Yes, I made mine a little more complicated where it takes a ritual and some components aside from remove curse, but you
Yeah.
can also like essentially lycanthropy. The way it's going to work for our game is it is a feat that, like the newer feats of the game, will level up if Nate's character decides to embrace the lycanthropy. But the first time it happens, I want it like I don't want it to be just a power boost. I want
Yeah.
this sense of like the loss of control and stuff like that.
Well,
if
I think also that kind of is like, after you've done it more than once, you start to get a feel for what you can and can't do.
yeah,
Like, at least on the first time, I could see how it might be incredibly difficult or impossible for the player to exert control at all.
yeah.
And then on later ones, they either would have bonuses to it or just now they can make a check, you know,
It's like
either or.
if anyone's ever like read a werewolf story, right? Like it's about like okay, a temporary loss of control and then you regain it over time and it was just so baffling to see a lot of criticism towards like people were like, well, your player's prepared, you should reward them for the prep. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not like taking anything away from them. I'm just not giving them an automatic win or
Yeah.
an automatic
Well,
I'm creating tension in the story because
It's also funny because I can see how like if you had like written a calendar beforehand and been like, this is the date this event happens, and then been like, oh, that also lines up with the moon phases that I was keeping track of on this calendar.
yeah.
That would like, I bet you anything, that thread would have looked a hell of a lot different. But like, also that's insane.
But
To like
actually,
keep track of that information.
Max, I did do that because I used the calendar of Harptos. So
Oh, well then never mind. Did you explain that?
no, I like at some point I stopped like
Okay.
I'm not trying to argue
Because
with people on the internet.
I will tell you, I've watched some campaigns that do that, and there are different reactions when there is a obsessive compulsive amount of information maintained.
Oh, I bet certain people are on board, certain people are not so much.
Well, what I should say is that then it's not viewed so much as railroading as it is like, well, you know, these events were like going to happen on these dates, and they just happen to coincide.
Yeah, I tried to
Even though it's
explain
like
that
the
in my
DM
initial
like
pitch.
set
that,
all this
like,
up anyways, so
yeah.
like I don't see why their opinion would change, is what I'm saying. But I have seen the difference in opinion,
Yeah.
which is I find that interesting.
It's one of those classic Reddit things where it's like you ask a question about something specific, and everyone, like, because you shared additional information, everyone is very focused on, like, this other thing instead. It's like, oh, that's not really...
That is true. That
what,
is...
what I'm trying to talk about.
It is very easy to perform the magic trick with Reddit, where you're like, focus on this.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're
Yeah.
basically the misdirection, except that you didn't intend it.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
No. Look over here. God damn it, stop looking over there.
But yeah, so Cheryl, for D&D stuff, my Dragon Might Spire Peak campaign on Sunday got canceled. Almost all the players were sick. We did play Avernus Rising on Friday.
Yep.
The party is making some progress towards understanding what's up with these devils.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about it, and you know how we were talking about how like it really, like, we just have to accept that like how hell works, like getting around is not going to make any sense.
Yes.
And that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I was thinking about a parallel with it. In 40K, they've kind of like given us an idea of how the webway works. It's just like if you want to go somewhere, you're more likely to make it there, but that doesn't mean that you will make it there.
It's not like a geography you're
damaged.
navigating. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just like navigate it, explore it, and map it. But if you want to be somewhere, the machinery of it is more likely to get you there. Whereas hell is the opposite, I would assume. Both of them have a problem where you may not end up there even if you wanted to be. But I would assume hell is actively opposing you from getting certain places.
I guess it's one of those things where it's like,
because it's malevolent as opposed to kind of like neutral, like the webway.
it's one of those things where I'm like, the book describes something and it's like,
Does it really?
Well, it basically says like everyone who tries to figure out how hell works goes mad.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The non-Euclidean geometry, right?
Yeah, but so have I already done this? Maybe I've already done this. But that's like all it says. So I'm not really like, I'm not trying to come up with mechanics to navigate hell. I'm just
No, and I don't
keep
think
to that,
it's
like,
not important
theme
either.
Of, yeah, you look into the eye of madness and you go nuts. I didn't realize it's already 7:35. I need some water and some tea and stuff. But we'll
I was
finish
just
this
saying
topic
that
first.
I really liked how I was looking at what 40K did with the webway, and I was like, you know, if you just made that like basically instead of whereas the webway is like 55% of the time you'll end up there where you want to be, hell is like 45% of the time.
Yeah.
It's like, and I was like, that would be. It, obviously, I would never use those numbers. I'm just saying that, like, basically, one of those represents that one is neutral, and the other one represents that it's malevolent.
Yeah.
The other one isn't. The other one has no alignment and was intended to get you somewhere, but it's broken. I guess is what I should say, is instead of being neutral.
Now, remind me again. The webway in 40K is the Eldar thing.
It's made by the old ones, but the Eldar use it. It's like a. So for those who don't play 40K, it's like they built a highway inside of hell that shields you from hell, because that's what they use to travel faster than light. They drill a hole into hell and then fly their ship in, and hell does not respect time or space.
No.
So you can come out at another location and basically break the speed of light. But it's obviously not conducive to life to drive your ship into hell. They have shields that are supposed to keep that from them being destroyed, but occasionally they'll like flicker, and then you'll have like demons enter your ship, and you get absolutely wrecked. Humans are oddly enough not very good at fighting against demons. So instead, what the old ones did way back in the day is they built highways in the warp, where they basically they use this material that no one knows how to make anymore to make tunnels that you could then follow through the warp. And because things do not because distances don't matter in the warp, basically the tunnels are always always making different and new connections to each other. But as time has worn on, they've been damaged. So basically before, like, the tunnels would have lined up and got you to where you wanted to go based on just you wanting to get there. And nowadays they still try to, but the mechanisms that govern it are broken at this point, so they don't get you there as often as they would have previously.
Yeah.
And hell is, like, basically, you know, trying to not get you there.
We're going to take a break. I'm probably going to be back at 7:50. I'm going to have some food with me. And I guess this might be a shorter stream than originally planned. I'm probably going to try and bang out these Sage's Wills and then call it a stream. And then next Monday we'll do Ganondorf stuff and end the game. All right. And then after that, we'll probably switch Mondays to be Baldur's Gate streams. Catch y'all in about 10 minutes. See you, everybody.
Bye.
back. Sorry, that took me a little longer than expected because Hannah was making some homemade tacos.
Nice.
She's got a new recipe where for the beef, she she still browns the meat, but then
not the cats.
she stews it in beef broth. And it's really,
So there were
really
no
good.
cats hurt for the taco.
No. Yeah, she's sourced a new meat option.
Yeah. This tastes weird. Where's oh my god, where's super stuff?
Yeah. Where's Francis? Where's Mega Stuff? Where'd they go?
Yeah. Oh, mega stuff. I realized I don't know if I gave any context for why I mentioned the mapping. Basically, I was questioning him on how he gets back to town.
Do you want to give like the high level, because you played both halves of the session? You want to give them kind of the rundown on the adventure?
Yeah. So basically, we started investigating who in town may be involved with the oh god, what were they? What were those guys called?
The Rusty Razors.
The Rusty Razors.
So the party went to hell most recently. They are finally in Avernus.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last time.
Okay.
But yeah, so now we're in Avernus. We started investigating. We got to the camp that we were going to. What's the bazaar's name again? God, what was that guy's name? The one who sent my character to hell.
Mahadi.
Mahadi, yeah, thank you. Mahadi, he's a Raksha who basically runs a camp that wanders around hell. It's like one of 2 safe places in hell. And unfortunately is on the move. But also, I don't know that makes it any better than the stationary one. Or any more predictable than the stationary one, now that I think about it. But that's... basically, we get there and we learn that, like, when we were coming through to hell, we got attacked immediately on entering hell by the Rusty Razors. And we found out that basically somebody in camp is likely reporting to them. And,
yeah, someone's a snitch, and Mahadi says snitches get stitches.
Yeah, and he's a demon, so it is honestly amazing that it's not just a purge until it stops happening.
Yeah.
You know?
We will continue
he's being very
purging
lawful
until
about
morale
this.
improves. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's something that, like, and it's the same thing with the Rakshasa that's in Waterdeep.
Yes, that they are...
Like, they're a little more lawful, or...
They're at least
pragmatic.
more intelligent. Willing to... Maybe not intelligent, maybe wisdom is what dictates this in this case, but they're at least more willing to not kill first and ask questions later.
Yeah.
Which I get the impression that most demons are not even going to ask the question later. At least from my experience with them from Nate's campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they are very much just... They're more about the slaughter.
Yeah, kill him first, kill him later. Don't...
Yeah. So, basically, he asked us to start looking for that. And this is the main overview of it. There's a lot of stuff we did on the side, as well. Like, there's a weird barber in town that we talked to who handles all the kobolds.
Establishing kind of the texture of the place.
Yeah, exactly. Getting to know the locals. And basically we found, I cannot remember her character's name either. I am so bad with names. But basically, one of our party members noticed that, like, nobody's really paying attention to the imps entering and leaving camp. And they're only supposed to be doing deliveries inside of camp. Well, I guess they could do deliveries outside of camp. It's just that one of them seemed to have a lot of deliveries outside of camp. Mm-hmm. We followed that one, and we found out that they are the one giving information away. I used Zone of Truth, and then commanded them inside of Zone of Truth
to nice
answer my question.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with that, because I'm pretty sure that's a well-known thing to do, but I came up with that on the fly. So
no,
even if it's something that I should have known prior to doing that, I definitely did not think of it. up until that point. So that command and Zone of Truth are complementary. Because Zone of Truth also says on it that you don't have to answer questions. You can basically plead the fifth.
Yes. So you need the command to force them to answer it.
But with the command, you can compel them to answer your questions. You can subpoena them.
Yeah.
So, we got the imp to... He answered all our questions, but he was kind of a dumbass and told us that he got a stash, that he had a stash of soul coins that
he was like trying to
being
plead
paid
for
to
his
him.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to plead for his life, and then I'm just like, well, guess what? You're not getting your life either, but I'm also commanding you to tell us where your stash is.
Yeah, we're commandeering your loot.
Yeah, and I also, at that time, I started asking the imp how the hell he knows how to get back to camp, which is why... That's the context for why I was curious, like, how you move around in hell. Because I was worried that, like, what would happen is that... And I think this says more about me as a DM than it does about, you know, anything else, is that I was asking the imp how he gets back because I was concerned we would leave camp and, like, not be able to get back because you don't have maps of hell and things aren't, like, positioned next to each other, like, directly.
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure that we could follow the same path back, and I'm like, and I'm talking to the imp about it, and Cameron's like, just don't worry about that, you're overcomplicating things, and I'm like, you know what, I really am, and also, I'm a dick DM, because, like, if my players did not ask me those kind of questions, I would let them leave camp and be like, so how do you get back?
I think it comes down to, like, what do you want to spend time doing in a session?
Yeah. And I want to make my players figure out the logistics of hell.
Yeah.
Which is, taking a quest that needs you to return is probably, without a map, is gonna be a challenge.
Yeah.
In my version, if I ever ran it. But
yeah,
I think that's exactly why Avernus gives you, like, one of the only maps of hell.
Yeah.
The Descent into Avernus, because, like, otherwise that is, like, nutty.
Yeah.
If you really tried to, like, expand that out, yeah, and, you know, like you said, because, you know, what do you want to do in your campaign? But if the thing you really wanted to do is, like, you know, be, like, as faithful as possible to the lore, which probably doesn't make a very good campaign, to be honest, but it would make it very hard to return to any place you've ever been to.
It would essentially make it so that you'd have to, like, get lucky to, like, let's take Descent into Avernus specifically. Like, I guess the difference being, and maybe that is it to account for that, is why Avernus is on the river Styx, because the river Styx is at least it's somewhat a constant, like, geological feature.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, actually, is that you could follow the Styx. It may not perfectly, like, wind back the same way. I'm assuming that is just, like, variable in that regard, but at the very least, it is one of the few landmarks you could depend on.
Yeah. Oh, I've already done this one. I probably have.
I never thought of that. That is probably, like, if you were going to send a party into hell without a map, like Descent gave you, the Styx is going to be super important.
Yeah.
I think there's some other landmarks that are big enough that it probably would help. The entire Blood War is a permanent landmark, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's what makes navigating the Styx difficult, right? Is that you're going to be running into, like, demon armies.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. Is that your one landmark also happens to, like, at least on one side of it, have a shit ton of demons.
Have an infinite conflict. Yeah.
Yeah. I also like the idea that you could illustrate to the party that, like, the landscape is not, like, fixed at all, because they could run into the demon army on both sides. Like, previously, the other side was where the war was going on. Somehow, the war is on the side you're on. And it's like, it's not that you've been traveling down the same side of the river Styx, it's just, space isn't fixed here. That would be a creative way to do it. I don't think it depending upon how your party wants to do things, that may not lead to great gameplay.
Yeah,
But it is narratively it's interesting.
I've been thinking about what a satisfying way to demonstrate that property of hell is, and I really have struggled to, other than like
It's hard. I don't know what you would do, to be honest. Like I have ideas how you can represent it narratively.
Nate's campaign, he essentially ignores it, right? He says, okay, you
Yeah.
have a map and you can navigate on the map. I'm
And I
trying
think,
to
like-
not do that, where I'm not going to give you guys a map.
Well, I think that's awesome, because that makes the map in his campaign, like, really, like, it illustrates that that is a legendary item, that not just anybody can get a map. And the fact that, like, the map freaking talks to people and bleeds occasionally is also, you know, an indication as to how abnormal it is to have a map of this place. That map is creepy.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is almost a dice rolling mechanic, where it's like, okay, are you
Yeah.
trying to travel? Roll a
And
d20,
that just feels so
and the
unsatisfying,
number...
doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't, like you said, it's not
It
great
works.
gameplay. It's very thematic.
Yeah. And
Hey,
I'm like,
Bite-Size B, how's it going?
trying to find that middle ground between the two. I
Yes.
just can't think of ideas that, like,
Bridge that
are
gap.
are fun and thematic at the same time.
Yeah.
And if you were, like, playing a survival-based campaign, then, like, it might just be fine not to even have a roll. Like, the fact that you may just never end up back at that place. Like, but for the campaign that you're running, where we need to get
Where
back
there
to
is a
Mahadi's,
goal, yeah.
that actually, like, well, and also, I guess not just get back to Mahadi's, like, we actually need to go places. So,
Yeah.
like, not even just, like, getting back to Mahadi's, but, like, if somebody told us to go somewhere, I mean, even that becomes, like, very challenging.
Yeah, I don't know how you, yeah, I mean, that's something that I have been thinking about, and I haven't
Maybe hiring imps? Like, and-
oh, you need to, and then maybe I kill off imps, and you have to, like, you have to keep one imp alive at all times.
I was thinking more along the lines of, like, I mean, making, like, checks to keep the imp from, like, screwing you over, things like that. Or, like, you know, the whole party, I mean, imps will do things for soul coins. I guess you could form a contract with one that,
Yeah.
like, basically makes them your guide for a certain amount of time. And that's a resource now. Like, how many times can you re-up your contract with an imp
Yeah.
to, like, navigate you around? And also protecting it during combat is going to be a pain.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they can turn invisible, but, I mean, things in Hell are somewhat adapted to that. And even our, like, tiny group was able to take on, you know, and find an invisible imp.
Yeah. Hey, Bite
So,
Size
like-
B, I hope you are feeling good. I know essentially everyone else in the party got sick. So Bite Size B is from the Dragon of Icefire P campaign. And it was literally like, I think the other 4 party members were all sick. But hopefully you did not get sick.
You gotta get the level 3 Paladin.
Yeah.
Gotta get that divine health.
Ooh, some rupees. 32.
I'm really looking for, like, just playing, not multi-classing like I normally do. I really love getting to those later features on Paladin.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So like we've got a holy roller party where we've got a cleric, 3 paladins, and 1 wizard. The paladins, Cow she's going very roleplay heavy on her focus. So her paladin is a triple multi-class, which she recognizes that she's not as effective in combat as everyone else, but I think she's enjoying it. She's, a level of rogue, 2 levels of fighter, and then the rest is paladin?
We're level 6, right?
You were. Now I think you're level 7?
She should not be... One of the paladin levels is not, what she would have been, because she didn't have divine health last time we played.
Yes. She
has to be
short.
I think she's a level 3 warrior or fighter.
Oh, maybe
and then
that's
a level
maybe
2
a
paladin.
level 3 fighter, and yeah, you're right.
one of those. I know she's not 222 though. So
And then I think Nate has been solid paladin this whole time, but I think he is also planning on multi-classing. So you not multi-classing helps differentiate yourself from the other
yeah.
two.
So the last time I played Baldur's Gate, I played paladin all the way up. Just like only took paladin levels, so I gained an appreciation for some of the abilities you get there, and the fact that this could go beyond level, what is it, level 11 that we get up to in Baldur's Gate. I'm looking forward to that.
This one's going all the way to 20.
Yeah, so there's like, what I mean is there's features that I did not
never
get
got
to
to
use in Baldur's
yeah.
Gate that I may actually get to use. Well, I mean, also I should say, my character could die, so that's, even though I knew we're going to 20, I still leave it as a maybe, because technically I could get offed.
I wanna
The dice might not be with my paladin. Statistics are against me if I roll enough dice.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't view myself as a particularly lethal DM.
And also, once you start getting the higher levels in 5e, it is more forgiving. You have more room to like basically get unlucky just because your health pool's bigger. You have different reactions that you can take, things like that. I mean, unless you're like putting yourself in like pretty horrible situations.
I'll say what I've learned for my DM style. So like there's other DMs like Matt on the Discord who like is very gleeful about killing player characters.
Yeah, like I'm
not.
That's interesting.
I'm not that way, but I'm also not. I won't fudge dice to save someone.
Yes.
And I think the fact that I push.
You're chaotic neutral, not lawful evil.
Yeah.
DM.
Maybe I'm lawful neutral because I'm very.
Actually, if you take joy in killing your players, is that chaotic evil?
That's chaotic evil. Right in terms of like player resources, my goal like
I don't want to kill people that are showing up to campaigns.
Yeah.
That's antithetical to keeping people showing up for campaigns.
Yeah, my like one thing that other DMs complain about in 5th edition constantly is like, oh my casters are overpowered, and when you talk to them,
that's not a 5th edition problem.
Well, but you talk. I think 5th edition did a pretty good job at fixing that problem. It's just people don't like the solution.
Every edition since first has made casters, or at very least has made other classes more on par with casters late game.
And the big thing with 5th edition is the short rest. It's like martial classes get a bunch of features back on short rests, and casters do not get spellbacks on short rests.
Well, and I've talked about what it's like in older editions to rest.
Yeah.
It is grueling.
But
so,
because
that's a huge.
of that,
and what I mean is that's a huge buff to like martials.
Yeah, because of that, the fact that it's hard, like it is easier to rest in 5th edition. What DMs find is like they're like, well, my party just like goes and does like 2 rooms in a dungeon and then takes a long rest. I'm like, you don't have to let them do that. That's what I do as a DM. Is I actively I make scenarios where my party is forced to short rest or not rest, so that the casters do have to use those. Like at the end of the last session, you guys and that one was a little more contrived on my part, but it's thematic because it fits in with Hell.
It actually fits really well with Hell, and I also I just want to say I really like that you were like, a long rest is when we go to the next session.
Yeah.
Like, because that meant that like the party couldn't just like say like, hey, we're taking 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because we tried, and thematically we found out that Hell sucks.
Yeah, Hell's not
Which
good.
we do keep finding that out. I would like to believe that our characters aren't surprised at this point.
Yeah. But so Waterdeep Dragon Heist, right? Like what I do for that one is very different than Avernus, right? They're not in Hell. They could technically take a short rest. So my tool in Waterdeep Dragon Heist is I have these NPC factions that have their own agendas. So they
that you're racing against, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
the race,
you give them a time element.
Yeah, the race forces my players to make like this thing with Nate's character and the werewolf stuff. Like, they could they could spend the night just hanging out in Waterdeep and like not have to worry about lycanthropy, but then
Yeah.
the other factions get to
Dealing with keeping Nate in bondage gear in the basement.
yeah,
right?
essentially. And people are like, well, you're railroading, and I'm like, no, I am forcing
You're giving
my
a time
players to
constraint,
make
which
a
makes the
choice.
players.
Yeah,
The
and
players need to use time as a resource, and
Yeah.
you're the one that's enforcing time as a resource.
and it makes the game interesting.
and
Like,
that still makes them have a choice. That's not you railroading.
yeah, and you want your like player characters always want the easiest path to a success as possible, but players in reality do not want instant success. Otherwise, like, that's
I was
just
about
not
to
a
say,
satisfying
I
game.
feel like all the questions I asked should indicate that that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, because like if you
I'm asking you about the logistical challenge.
yeah, and then like Dragon of Icespire Peak, like in that one, it's a newer player game, so I'm a little more generous with allowing them to long rest. But they do have to still do watches and
When I
things
got
like
the
that.
impression that campaign is not time constrained.
Uh,
Like that, I
correct.
don't know a bunch about it, but it didn't sound like there was an element of time as a resource, which then lends itself to allowing the players to take more long rests, basically. Thematically. I'm not saying that you have to, I'm just saying that it lends itself to it.
Yes,
Like if
and-
you were trying to compare the relative trying to compare the relative ease of taking a long rest in different campaigns.
Yes, and I have used I've used like wandering monsters and things like that to put that to interrupt
disrupt.
long rest and
Yes.
things like that. Yeah, and
That
so,
used to be a big thing, by the way. And it's weird that it is not a big thing anymore to me, because I'm like, and your players are like out in the wild resting. If they have to get up in the middle of somebody's shift, like in older editions, that would have been very unforgiving to give them their spells
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That would not. I mean, rules is written, you wouldn't have gotten your spells back.
Yeah.
So it is weird to me that like that went away, like, or I should say that it is not emphasized as much.
I think part of it came.
That's a tool.
Yeah.
I think it was weird that it was like rules is written back in the day, because that made it very inflexible. I just think that based on like a lot of the optional rules that you've shown, that you pointed out to me, that's one that I feel like they should, even though it's not an optional rule, that they should have emphasized the usage of it as a tool for the DM to decide the frequency of long rest, essentially.
I think it comes from more of a I don't want to say cultural, but like it comes from a place now where it's like we've had a generation of people grow up playing Resident Evil that save the healing medicine for the boss fight. They're so paranoid about using their
D&D's always been about
resources.
saving all your potions and then chugging them all frantically
Yeah.
you realize you're running out of options against an enemy.
Yeah, but like
Even the
I think,
unlabeled ones.
I think the players, at least from what I've seen, it's like players complaining that the DMs are making things harder for them, rather than like embracing the. And it's part of it's a disconnect. Part of it's just.
It's interesting. I agree that it's. I don't know how you should communicate that intent to a player, that basically time is a resource, which means that long rest are using up a resource.
I think it's
And
a
that
conversation
they
you gotta
need-
establish early on, like a session
Yeah.
zero type thing.
That's probably part of it too, is that it only becomes a problem later when the DM tries to do that without having had that conversation first.
And maybe
'cause
the DMs
I get an
aren't
impression that
aware of it.
a lot of campaigns start without a time constraint and then may gain one eventually, which means that in session 0 you never had that conversation.
Yeah, or if you're doing like, if you're running one of the modules, like the books don't do a great job explaining that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Which is one of the reasons I'm so curious about like the new. I mean, it's not a new edition, but one D&D or whatever they're calling it. A Gerudo. Okay, I need to find a Gerudo scimitar.
It's been a while
Gerudo
since
shield.
I have watched or seen gameplay for Majora's Mask. How did they explain? How did they make it clear to the player that there is a time constraint because of the moon?
They at the beginning of the game, the Happy Mask salesman actually tells you like, "Hey, 3 days, we're all gonna die." So they say it explicitly, but then also passively, there's all the NPCs. Like a bunch of them are always like looking up at the moon and remarking how it's getting closer and stuff like that. I like the way Zelda does it.
That is probably like a good example, and maybe a little on the nose, like not very subtle, like because like you said, everybody in town's looking up at it. You can look up at it and see it. That creepy ass moon, and like that person deliberately doing that, telling you, but also that's really close to what you were saying about like tell them in session 0.
Yeah.
Because that person explains it to you immediately, and then you're reminded constantly by a in-game, narrative mechanic of like the NPCs around town looking up, like stuff like, and you can look up and see the moon.
Yeah, but like you said, the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide it's got great information in it, but it's not structured well to convey that information easily.
I would also say that is
something
true of
in, like,
every
the
Dungeon
starter
Master's Guide.
Boxes. So 4th edition, I think, is structured in a really great way. It's just it's structured really well for an edition of the game that people don't like.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, I think it's probably too hard to make a Dungeon Master's Guide that is like structured well because of how generic the information would need to be that you want to convey to the player.
Yeah,
but also it's mixed in with a bunch of crunch too.
Yeah,
which makes it hard to.
You need to start like in my mind. You would start at. If I were to write it, I would, like, okay. So 5th edition, they start with like world building, and that's like the last fucking thing a dungeon master needs.
Yep, that's a good point.
You start at the
Is
session.
that really the first? Do I have my Dungeon Master's Guide with me? That's the funny part about it is now when I go to look at things on D&D Beyond, because I search for things, I don't get a feel for what order they actually were in the book.
Here's the order on the chapters. Chapter 1, a
I'm
world
looking right
of your
now.
own.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Chapter 2, creating a multiverse. That's the thing you need to know, right?
Yeah, and then creating an adventure.
Yeah. Then creating NPCs, adventure environments, between adventures, treasure, running. So chapter 8 should be chapter 1.
Yeah.
I'd essentially go backwards here, right?
What was 3 like now that I think about it? Because I like that book in particular as a when I was younger, I would have never like thought about like the structure.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like browsed any of my books like in any order because I didn't really have any objective when I was going through them.
Listen to this.
Or anything like that.
Let me walk you through the 4th edition real quick. Chapter 1, How to Be a Dungeon Master. It talks about the gaming group, players, dungeon master.
Did that section even exist in the other one?
Not that I see.
How to be a dungeon master.
Chapter 2, running the game. So they did the thing that I think they should have done, which is chapter 2 is like preparing modes of the game, pacing, props. Just look at this. There's a subsection called dispensing information, improvising. There's a whole section on how to end a campaign.
Oh, in the DMG, drill into the introduction section. I think you'll find that interesting. The how to use these rules.
In 5th edition?
Yeah, in 5th edition. It's not what... I still think the order is wrong. Because they start
it does have, like, know your players. And, this is, like, kind of helpful stuff.
But I still think that, like, even this is a little wonky on how they're presenting it. Because they start off with how to use these rules, and they're like, we break this into 3 parts, and Masters of World is the first one, which is, like...
Not the way,
Yeah, like, the adventure is the scale that your players are going to be interacting at, like, almost
of the time.
entire
Yeah.
time. They're not affecting, like, world-shattering
Again,
events.
it should be flipped. It should be, right, Master of Rules first, then Adventures, then Worlds. Like, you start the scale small and you scale up. And
I
this
do think this book is almost built from the perspective that you will have been a player before you were a DM.
That, and it's probably built from the perspective that you have been a DM of previous editions.
That, too.
Because they're, like,
I
establishing,
think-
like, okay, here's how 5th edition is different from other editions, rather
Did
than...
they really say that?
No. I'm just saying, like, that's the mindset that I'm, like, when they're trying to set things up, like, why would they care about explaining how to create a multiverse unless they're trying to define how the 5th edition multiverse is different from previous ones?
I just think it's bad planning, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So, but look, so 4th edition. Okay, chapter 2, running the game. How to be a DM, running the game, combat encounters, building encounters, non-combat encounters, adventures, rewards, campaigns, the world, the DM's toolbox. And then it goes into a sample. Oh, God, do I want to run 4th edition again?
No. I would be interested to see if you could get players for it.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I wouldn't sign up for it. I'm sorry, Cameron. I'm so sorry, but I just
that's
couldn't do it.
We're already playing
But-
plenty of stuff together.
But I think you're gonna really like this. The DMG for for 3rd edition 3.5
Yes.
is Chapter 1's running the game.
Yep.
Chapter 2 is using the rules. Chapter 3 is adventures. Chapter 4 is non-player characters, and Chapter 5 is campaign. 6 is characters, which I find that interesting that characters would even be mentioned at all here.
Yeah.
And then Chapter 7 is magic items, because my god, the DMG in every magic item had a GP then. So, like, the magic item section makes up a massive portion of this book. It's not great. And then a glossary. So the only thing I find interesting here is that we're going to talk about non-player characters right after adventures.
Yeah. But, like,
And,
that's
and
also
then the
not,
other
like,
things that I mentioned, like why the hell are characters in here? But
But
regardless,
that's not terrible compared to...
you could do it anywhere else. Basically, I'm like, I guess if I'm gonna teach you how to make an adventure, the next part of that is campaigns.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you then do non-player characters? It's kind of like a miscellaneous thing. Like, everything feels in order here except for the non-player characters, which are kind of like, that's fine.
But
like, it doesn't...
agreed on the fact that it could be improved. And, like...
yeah, but 5th edition, in comparison, is just, like, nonsense.
It's
like,
so backwards. And that's, like it's so weird that they got pretty close in 3rd.
I never noticed this.
4
This is,
feels
like, crazy.
like they nailed it. But this is, like, I do wonder, like, I have a bad habit of, I accuse players and DMs, especially online, and this is one of the reasons I tend not to have discussions with them, because I feel like people don't read the rules.
Well, and
and
even
then-
if they did, in this point, it's kind of...
That's literally what I was thinking was, like, this feels like they, like, maybe they did read the DMG, but they got, like, the fucking wrong
They got the
information
worst
from it.
advice ever. Like,
Yeah. And
they
this is-
started with write your own, like, multiverse.
Yeah.
Which, you know, have you started on your own novel yet?
Yeah, exactly. Like, the thing that, like, we tell players, like, I tell players constantly, especially because I like to give advice to new players and new DMs, and they're like, what, like, okay, I want to build my universe. I'm like, no. You start with one adventure, make one town with, like, 15 NPCs, and
Chapter 1 has, like, religious systems and making your own.
yeah, like, that's not where your energy as a DM in general should be. So that's like...
Language and dialects.
Here-
Oh, God.
This might be
is...
a hot take, and I think you...
Oof.
Because you like homebrew stuff. I do not view it as the dungeon master's job to create a world. I think that is like an entirely separate task. Like there is
previous editions have actually said, like, not like to basically not focus on this part because this isn't what your players interact with most of the time.
Yeah. And
So, like, I'm 90% sure that the DMG from 3.5 mentions this.
that, like, yeah,
I'm-
don't waste time here.
Yeah, that, like, this is usually the part that's not where you want to spend your resources, your limited time.
Yeah. It's crazy to me. Damn it. Is there not a scimitar over here? Alright. Sorry, I'm looking for a Gerudo scimitar to finish a quest. There are 2 Gerudo scimitars in the ancient prison ruins of Palu Wasteland.
You basically, like, the DMG from 3.5 is just like the world is a backdrop for your characters. Just be consistent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's honestly, if that's the only information you gave a player about, like, the world when you got to that section, that wouldn't be terrible.
And
because the other part, like, making a world yourself is basically like trying to teach somebody to write. Like,
yeah.
like novel, like, in my opinion, like, that's, I don't think you can mechanically teach somebody to do that. Like, so, also, like, I feel not only is that, like, not where a player should be putting their resources, but it might be a waste of time for some, you know, like, not efficient use of time, I should say, in that you might not produce something.
Yeah.
It just might not be a skill that a person is, like, talented at, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I view strongly that especially new DMs, like the idea of starting with any sort of homebrew feels to me like a waste of time, because what you should be learning is how to run the game, and running the game is not the same as creating an adventure. I think there's skill involved in creating an adventure, and it's an important skill to learn at some point, but first, players and DMs should learn to run the game.
Oh, I also really love the example that they give here about how basically, like, when you're creating a world, they're like, when they're talking about consistency, they're just like, they give you a scale that is so small that it makes, that it actually sort of illustrates, like, they're not talking about, like, sitting down and deciding, like, are the religions monotheistic here? They start talking about, like, when your NPCs come back to the bar, or when your PCs come back to the bar, there should probably be the same PC there, or NPC there, running the bar.
Yeah.
And they may tell you, like, someday that, like, hey, they're leaving town, going to this other town over the hill, which is
that's
how they
great.
find out about, like, the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And that's like, you didn't sit down and top-down design the world.
Yeah.
It's just that because the players have been interacting with these things, and because you've been consistent, they're learning more about the world.
Yeah. No, that's
And I was
great.
like, that's a great, that actually is a great example of, like, a combination of improv with your consistency.
Yes. I like
And
that a lot.
that's really all you need for, like, a world, is that, like, you know, if you need your players to, like, need to go somewhere, if this NPC is mentioned that there's a town over the hill, like, maybe that's the place they need to go.
Yeah.
You know, and that sets the stage for that place even existing.
I like that.
But it doesn't
a
mean
lot.
that you sat down and, like, here, or in World Anvil, and, like, typed out a whole world
And
with, like, the family tree of every, like, person.
I've seen players, or I've seen DMs, like new DMs do that. Like,
I know,
they
and I can
start a
only imagine
campaign.
that has grown with Chapter 1 being a world of your own.
That, and then I wonder how much of it comes from unreasonable expectations, and this is not the fault of them, but like streams that like actual play groups. Like, Brennan Lee Mulligan is a super wonderful and talented DM, and he does such an amazing job building worlds, but he is also like a writer as his profession, and has the resources of a like production company behind him. Same with Matt Mercer.
And
Like-
that's actually sort of what I was getting at when I was like, you know, you can't really, like, you can try to give a person advice on writing their own world. It may just not be something that's, like, that they have the time or resources or skill to do, or
Yeah.
some combination.
Yeah.
And like, there are some, and you pointed out, there's some unreasonable expectations that some people might set for themselves based on, you know, the media around D&D today, which is something that I definitely, I mean, there would have been that just wouldn't have been a thing in like 3 and back.
Right.
Like
yeah,
that, I can't think of anything like that back in that time.
I think like Acquisitions.
That's a very new phenomenon.
Acquisitions Incorporated was essentially the first thing like that, and that didn't start until 4th edition.
You know, there is one other actually, and we were kind of overlooking it. Dragonlance.
Oh.
It wasn't streamed, but you get the idea is that you're reading the books and you know that this is a DM that did this.
Yes.
You
Although
know,
I'd say Dragonlance
but I'd say
is a bad example of it based on what I've read, because
I know
the
nothing about it
adventures-
other than
the
like,
adventures get really, really railroady because they're like, oh, you want to like experience the adventures of the books, so a lot of things end up having to happen to let them like follow the books.
yeah, because at first it starts out as them just rewriting like the stuff that the players did, but I'm assuming as you get major plot points, now it turns into like, well, how do we explore these major plot points while continuing to write the book if the players don't take these actions?
Yeah, there's
I have not read them personally, but based on what you're saying, that's what I'm taking away from it,
if
right?
you want to, I'm gonna give you a link. Let me pause.
I mean, I've heard they're.
Fucking ass.
One of my first DM really liked them, and he was very good at it. He professionally produced campaigns at some point after he was my DM. So
Oh, that's awesome.
like, I will say, for me, I've always regarded, even though I've never read them, I guess I've had high regard for them because of that. But I can totally see how you might start out writing it, you know, just what the players did and novelizing that, and then once you start to explore plot points, you're like, well, shit, now the players need to be like doing these things to keep the book from just being monotony.
I'm gonna post it in. It's a Twitter thread, but it's the Alexandrian did a read along. I'm gonna post it in TTRPG.
Cool. I'll take a look at that. But I was just saying that even though that's not exactly the same as like the live streamed campaigns we have nowadays, it may be like it possibly is the first example of a campaign that was well known to other people.
Yes, that's a really good point.
It like a proto version essentially of, especially because people are paying to buy the books to read them. And nowadays, like, I might go watch somebody else's campaign, but I've never paid to watch somebody else's campaign.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting side note for that campaign.
Yeah, no, that is a really good point. That Dragonlance is kind of the first time that the first time a campaign has been like consumed from the outside.
Yeah. At least to my knowledge. Maybe there's something that even predates that, but I'm not aware of it.
I guess in the sense that
but I do think it's quite impressive that when I just thought of that idea, you know, earlier, that you were paying to consume their campaign too. And there were enough people that like they could get a publisher to do that.
Yeah, the only other thing I could think of would be like we did Blackmore.
What is that one?
Gygax's first campaign was published. Like, a setting guide was published.
That's interesting. I guess I am curious how that... I never thought about it, but the campaigns that Gygax produced himself, you would have known that his players played them. I'm curious how that affected things back in the day, but I didn't play at a time where, like, Gygax would have been producing campaigns himself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Dungeons of Dread, for example. Like, I knew those existed, but, like, I didn't get to see how those were received when they first came out.
That and it I'll say that he wasn't publishing the campaign. He was publishing like ideas inspired by it. Like to me, it's very different than Dragonlance. Dragonlance, the modules they published were.
Oh
like,
yeah, I forgot that it even became modules at some point too.
And Dragonlance, well, yeah. So I think
Which it really should have been a setting, and then there should have been the Dragonlance like campaign that's going on.
Well, and the modules is what I like think of when I think of Dragonlance. It's the
see,
modules,
I only think
the
books
are
come to mind first for me.
Set up in a way so they're parallel to the books. They are the same story as the books to the point where the modules are like it's almost mandatory that you run the modules with pre-constructed characters, the protagonists from the books. It's essentially like if you were doing like a historical reenactment where you're playing the adventure to...
Yeah, because you can't go off the rails here, otherwise you won't make it to the next module.
Yes, and that's where I'm talking about how railroady they got.
That is an interesting... Because really, like, if they had just made it a setting, that works out really well.
Yes.
Because actually, it gives you a good reason to, like, sell a updated setting book, oddly enough, because as the characters take macro actions that change, like, the world, you would need a new setting book. Not that I like the idea of them building an obsolescence like that, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that, from a marketing point of view, it works out very well.
It's almost like Warhammer 40k and 40k, where you can be like, okay, which time period do you want to play? That's not necessarily obsolescence.
And that's not even just 40k anymore. There's, like, the Great Rift and post the Great Rift. Like,
40 and 41k.
Yeah, essentially. 40k plus and then 40k minus.
Yeah.
AD, BD, I guess BC, AD.
Yeah.
Or except you need like before BR, before Rift, after Rift. Because also, like, Gilliman has been trying to resolve the timeline and is like, we are plus or minus 1 millennia.
Wait, what?
And I love the idea that it is a plus or minus.
What does that mean?
That means that time is so messed up, and it already should have been because of relativity and them, like, basically breaking speed of light with, you know, hell travel. But nowadays, it's so messed up that, like, certain areas of the universe, like, when he gets to Ball, it was like, it only a couple days had passed, but for the outside world, like, 500 years passed.
Oh.
During the devastation of Ball. And there's all these localized events that happened when the rift opened, which has basically made it so, like, some places, like, time just stopped. Some places, like, time moved, reversed, you know? So you have, like, places that are from the past that are now in their current locations.
This is all
so
just
basically
chaos, like, being unleashed, or this is...
Yeah, this is the warp, basically, you know, affecting a large portion of the galaxy.
Oh.
So Gilliman has been, like, trying to basically resolve the timelines by drawing a line of best fit. And he's like, we are basically either plus or minus 1 millennia. And I'm like, that is a horrible line of best fit. I like the idea of your date having a standard standard deviation.
Yeah.
Gonna go on a limb and say
hilarious.
that's not gonna get through review.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is an interesting part of that timeline. But it has also made it so that, like, you can have things. I think the most interesting part of that, the consequences of that is that you can have things from other timelines interacting with each other, and it still would be thematic. And I'm surprised we don't have that in D&D because of all the shit they've done on, with killing the god of magic and then, like, the god fall and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, like, time should be pretty jacked up.
Yeah, I guess it's more about the theme of the gameplay. Like 40K is really going for like
The only
that
reason
bleak
I would put
chaos
that
is
in
winning kind of thing.
is so that basically, like, if a DM would want to, like, take different elements of different time periods and have them interact with each other, there is a pretty easy way for the DM to justify it.
Yeah.
That's the only, I mean, and honestly, you don't even need that to justify.
I think
that,
that's
like,
part of it. It's there's so much magic. Like, we already deal with, like, timey-wimey shenanigans.
yeah, the wish spell
and it
exists.
just happens, like, locally. Yeah, it just happens locally. Or,
A
like
wizard
Curse of
has used the
Strahd,
wish
right?
spell.
Like, Strahd is essentially caught in a local time loop forever.
That's a good point, too.
Like,
Because
they
also,
can do that with Domains of
when you
Dread
come
or
back from
whatever else.
Barovia, the normal amount of time hasn't passed, right? Isn't that something they actually mention? That if you get out, that basically time has not
I
progressed.
think that depends on the setting.
Okay. I couldn't remember if they mentioned that or not.
Edition. As far as I know, that's not in 5th edition, but maybe it was something in earlier ones.
I don't know. I could just be misremembering there. Because I can't think of a book where I would have read that. I only knew of the Barovia campaign secondhand.
Yeah.
Even though they've been, redone so many times, I never owned one of them and read through its source material, so I'm definitely not remembering. If that's something I'm remembering, it's not from the book, so take me with a grain of salt on that one.
Yeah.
And it could just be that, because I've watched some other people run them, and that could just be what the DM themed it,
Yeah.
It's a neat theming, considering, like you said, Strahd is stuck in a local time loop, essentially.
Yeah.
It's not out... It certainly doesn't feel outlandish,
Yeah, and even there, they're not always super consistent. They, like... Time seems to pass for Strahd, but effectively he's in an endless cycle because that's the nature of the Domain of Dread, to just always fuck with him.
To Groundhog Day him.
Yeah.
But I'm still stuck on... I'm looking at the table of contents here. The creating a world is the first one. I know we started with that, but I'm still...
It's shocking,
it's incredible.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And like we said, this is the 5th edition. This is not like 1E when they probably, first edition.
I don't even... 1E would have been
Should
Money
we
is
look?
like
Let's
the
look.
ramblings of like a madman. I have it over here actually. Hold on, I'm grabbing mine. A physical copy.
So I have advanced D&D first edition.
Okay, so first off, the AD&D First Edition Dungeon Master's Guide is ludicrous. There's no chapters.
Okay, wait, I want to make sure I'm looking at the same thing. This has a red, devil
a red demon
holding a naked lady.
Yep,
Yep,
you
okay,
got it.
okay.
Though I will tell you, the cover art might be the same, and we may still have different books.
That's true.
The way they did books at this time was insane. But I see the first thing here is creating a character.
Yes. So, okay. So there's a preface, credits, introduction. There's the game, which is probably the same as our introduction, approaches to playing Dungeons and Dragons, dice, use of miniature figures. And what I do want to note here is this is a much smaller book than the other ones we're looking at, where creating a character only lasts 2 pages. It goes from page 11 to page 12.
We're still up to 200-something pages in this book.
Yes.
At least In my version of it, it's 237-ish
But I
pages.
think
238, sorry.
the DMG is bigger. Well, there's a bunch of it is appendices, so mine has
That too.
like
A lot of editions do this. I don't know why. They just have these massive appendices.
yeah.
I should say that, in particular, early for 2E, and I can say for sure, 1E, I have this book, but I have not ever played a game of 1E. I got this from my aunt, actually, and it's hilarious because she bought it. There is a sticker in the front of it from JCPenney for $12.99.
Oh.
I like the idea of buying the Dungeon Master's Guide at JCPenney's.
Yeah, that's kind of funny to think.
Yeah, I don't really understand that part of it, but it is pretty hilarious. But basically, in 2E, I know that there is almost no structure to what is even in which book.
Yeah, so for first edition, advanced first edition, the part that I would consider the most important, what they're calling the adventure, doesn't start until page 47. So yeah, this is. I mean,
and
again,
this is
but
the ramblings of a
excuse is-
madman. I'll tell you that right
That's
now.
what I was going to say. This is the excuse for this is that it's first edition.
The
Fifth
excuse
edition.
for this is a lot of drugs.
That too.
Actually, I will guarantee you that is more of the reason this book is like just somebody with their goddamn corkboard and thread and tacks putting up like pictures everywhere. That is what 1E and 2E is like, basically.
Gotcha.
But that's the reason. They have a lot of drugs when they were writing these books.
But yeah, it's still crazy to me that like 5th edition after 3rd and 4th edition.
But I also think that it's worth pointing out that your 5th edition guide only being marginally better than the one written heavily influenced by a perception-altering drugs is not a endorsement that you... not a great endorsement.
Not at all. Yeah, I'm really curious to see if the new, because they are working on a new Dungeon Master's Guide, to see if that one will be improved.
Is this Dungeon Master's Guide going to be essentially? This has happened at least in 3.5. They did this. They wrote the Dungeon Master's Guide. They wrote a Dungeon Master's Guide 2, and then they did a revised Dungeon Master's Guide.
This one will be a revised, from what I understand.
Good. Because I'm not a big fan of the Dungeon Master Guide 2 and the Player's Handbook 2.
I guess
they add cool things, but also I'm like, they make the game more complicated for somebody to get into.
I view those almost like Tasha's and Xanathar's. And I prefer
the branding that we have now, is what I should say. Because
it makes them feel non-essential, which they have some great stuff in them. I basically use them all the time in my games, but
as supplemental material, they're fantastic. But labeling one Dungeon Master's Guide 2 and Player's Handbook 2 gives them
it's a higher barrier,
a motif that makes them sound like you need them.
Yeah, agreed.
That you must play with them, whereas they were always optional rules.
Yeah.
Dungeon Master Guide 2 in particular, not a fan.
Well, it is almost 9 o'clock, and I've kind of run out of things to do ahead of the final fight. So I think we're going to call this a stream early, because I am feeling a little sleepy, and I got to get up and do yoga in the morning. But yeah, we got the last quest. We just got to destroy Ganondorf. So I might, off screen, I might do a little Korok seed gathering, some Sage's Will getting, prepping for the final fight, and then we'll come back on Monday. And next Monday should be our last Zelda stream, and after that, like we said, Baldur's Gate and all that fun stuff. Max, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Thanks
It
everybody.
was fun discussing
Yeah.
the design philosophy of D&D.
Yeah, of the DMG. Like,
Yeah, I guess that, yes, specifically the DMG.
yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, Bite Size B. If I know you've mentioned you don't have a strong desire to DM, and that's totally fair. But if you ever were to want to do that, I would not advise you to use the 5th edition dungeon. Like, you
Or
gotta
use
use it
Cameron's
as
read order.
reference. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Read it. Essentially, read it backwards. Start at chapter 8 and work your way forward. It's
Look up an old DMG's order and use that.
yeah, it's so crazy. We're just gonna get back down the same rabbit hole.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll see you, Cameron.
Bye, everybody.
See you.